estrelas de plástico e espero que você não me reencontre jamais. Não deixe o dia passar, deixe o sangue escorrer, deixe o cinza amarela, deixe o sonho acontecer. Deixe o céu desanuviar, a terra tremer. Deixe o dia passar, a noite vamos vencer. A noite vamos vencer. Vamos vencer.
犠牲者が何人になるのかもわかりません。一人でも多くの人の無事が確認されることを願っています。また現在原子力発電所の状況が予断を許さぬものであることを深く案じ、関係者の尽力により事態のさらなる悪化が回避されることを切に願っています。
完全に閉鎖している仙台空港ですが、次々と水が押し寄せています。津波警報が沿岸部に現在出ていますが、まさに今津波が仙台空港の滑走路を襲っています。滑走路のかなり遠いところまで水が到達しようかというぐらい津波が押し寄せています。濁流が完全に仙台空港の滑走路を飲み込んでいます。現在大津波警報、津波の到達も県内各地で観測されています。確認されていますが、
Radioactive material has been detected in seawater around Japan's Fukushima plant.
After the quake and the tsunami, a blast at the Daiichi nuclear power plant in Fukushima.
An explosion has destroyed the roof and walls of one of the buildings at the Fukushima No. 1 plant.
Officials had warned that a second explosion could happen at any time, and on Monday, that warning came true.
Concentration levels 240 times higher than safe limits.
45,000 people living within 6 miles of the plant now being told to move to safety, to evacuate.
But as the evacuation radius in Fukushima keeps extending, there are fears that it may already be too late.
Scientists warn that the element strontium is highly dangerous to humans as it can accumulate in bones and is believed to cause cancer.
That the radioactivity is 20 times over the normal level.
I don't understand the technical side of it at all, but I'm scared all the same.
緊急地震速報何の役のだとね。
And if I unmute the mic, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and welcome to the grand, the glorious Sunday Chill here on the tube of you. Give me a second, let me sort out my volumes, let me have a wee look in the chat and say, can you hear me in the chat? Is my volume working okay? Let me know please. Say hello to Mr. Sam Shadow, who was enjoying a little chill out session that we had at the beginning there. I hope you enjoyed that. Just some random tunes that we were playing as we get set up. It's sort of the new way of doing the chill. I've been thinking about playing music for a while, but didn't really know what kind of music to play. I'm talking to myself, but I'm not sure if you can hear me. Sounds good. Excellent, Sam. Thank you very much. So the tunes that you were listening to there, if I've got many screens up and running, I'm afraid I'll probably disappear for a second, just as I do this, but I should be back momentarily, no doubt. If I just click the right screen, I'll try and do that. I think it's that one. Yes, it is. That disappeared. I'll bring myself back down. Those little tunes that I was playing were from a band called Labelle's Friends. There's a website called FMA, freemusicarchive.org. And if you go to freemusicarchive.org and look up Labelle's Friends, I'll put some links in the doobry bits after the show and so on, so you can go and check it out yourselves. But that's what we'll be doing for the first half hour on a Sunday night of the chill from now on in. It's just playing some random tunes just to see how it goes. Hello Gajira, how are you? Hello, high five, high five, high five. No cuddles, high five. Oh, big cuddles. Oh. Okay, let's do this. I've been trying different things this week, so I've got earphones in, and it sounds really mad talking to myself, but I'm going to try the earphones when folks come on to save this whole echoey thing. Before I get started today, let me get rid of the cat. You go down, 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 down. We get avoided by cats. I wanted to start off this session of the chill way going over a couple of things that kind of became apparent when I come back last week. We talked quite about it last Sunday on the chill, and watching some of the other shows that have been on YouTube over the past week or so, I've kind of heard the same resonance, if you like, and that's that people seem to be lacking imagination or excitement in their lives. Passions have been lost. Now, oh well, I bet it's a strange, strange world that's out there, but as we were saying last week, you know, times like this, we kind of find ourselves on our own, in solitude, and, you know, that's the best times to use imagination. It's the best time to put yourself out there. My week's been okay. It's been kind of quiet since I moved into the new flat. I had some trouble sort of, you know, finding finances to feed myself, the usual kind of rigmarole, and it's nothing special on me. The whole world is in this situation just now. I found myself going to the local food bank and asking for help, you know, I got a referral to go there. I had to walk down, I had to get to the food bank, and I had to carry the 3 bags of tins basically that they were giving me to come back with, and I was a bit worried simply because of my angina and my COPD. I was like, I'm not going to be able to carry those 3 bags. And I kind of got a little bit angry about it. I got a little bit angry at the position I was put in. I got a little bit depressed at the fact that, you know, the stuff that I was getting for the food bank wasn't that brilliant to start with. But hey, we've got to look at the positive side of things. It was something to eat. It was a meal every day this week. And that meal allowed me then to go out for, a walk and enjoy myself and enjoy some of the fresh air that's here on the coast of Scotland. I had a beautiful rainbow this week. It was beautiful. I was sitting at the window and all of a sudden this rainbow appeared and it came down and hit the middle of the estuary. And I thought to myself, God, the jinx, I love at the end of a rainbow. That's amazing. And it sparked me for the rest of the week. So all this week I've been walking about and truly having my eyes open at the natural wonders that surround me. Whether it be the sea, whether it be the islands, whether it be the atrocious weather that we have here in Scotland. I try to find the positive in it. I try to find the positive in the situation. And in that positive, hopefully some inspiration to inspire my imagination. That's what all this is about. That's what the Sunday Chill's about. I've not been on doing this for some time. And I feel that, I didn't quite realise how important the Sunday Chill was, maybe. Now I really, really do. Not just for myself, but for everybody else that takes part in the Sunday Chill. It is the place where we come together and chat. It is the place where we come together and have a laugh. With that in mind, let me do my usual thing. And I'll send out some notifications, so to speak, to let people know that we're here. That's the wrong notification. I can't do it like that. Oh no, I've done it wrong. Give me a second. You'll need to see the big invite thing as I pop it up on screen. You think I would be used to doing this by now, but obviously I'm not. One of these days we'll get organised. There we go. So, if you're in the Twitter group, hello Gajira. The Sunday Chill's on. I know, look, Brandon's not here yet, but I'm sure he will be in due time, and then you can come on to the Sunday Chill, right? People in YouTube land, you can see that Gajira is now creeping up on me. The microphone's away over there, so probably people won't hear me, Gajira. See, I need to put it there so that you can hear me. Hopefully somebody will jump in. Well, I don't know who's about tonight. I'm expecting the usual crowd, let's say, if they're about. Maggie wasn't able to join us last week. I'm hoping Maggie might be able to jump in and join us this week. I've sent a message out to Twitter. If anybody wants to jump in, feel free. And I'm hoping on hope, third, maybe fourth time lucky, we'll get somebody jumping in. I'm not going to be the only Scotsman here, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. And we already have somebody in. Who can this be? I can't see the screen. All I see is a blue face. It's Sam Shadow. Hello, Sam.
How's it going?
I'm good, man. You're first in.
Sorry about the echo. I was listening to the chill as I was joining the chill.
Ah!
I had two dailies talking to me at once.
That's fine. I have got my headphones at the ready, Sam, just in case we end up having echo chaos like we've had. But I never figured this out, right? So I've got OBS up and running. Spooky's in the chat room. Pragmatic's in the chat room. Spooky Prag, could you do me a favour and could you tell me if you can hear Sam? Because then I'll know that everything's working. Can't hear Sam, Brandon says. Damn you, Brandon Young. Give me 2 seconds, Sam. Sam is here. I'll pop out chat. Give me a second. Gives me a wee minute just to unorganise stuff, and I'll go to OBS, and then we'll go. How do we do this? Sam, I don't know what I'm going to do. Mic audio. Try that. How does that work? Andy in the chat, how does that work? Sam is super low. Okay, I can fix that. I know how to, because I fixed that last week. Sam, sing us a song. There we go. I shall be with you momentarily. This is the usual 15-minute fuck up of the Sunday Chill. Try and say that fast. Advanced audio properties. Audio input. I don't know how to do that bit. Spooky, it would be great to have you on board, sir, but give me a little second. Well, I don't know what to do about echoing. I'm kind of stuck all of a sudden. I get really confused.
I don't hear the echo.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's a bit mad.
This is a first.
I think that's an echo. That never helps, Sam, when people say everything sounds fine on Hangouts, because I know everything sounds fine on Hangouts. Give me a second. I think I need to give you a little bit of gain, and I'm doing that now, so to speak. That's probably way too loud, but we'll try that. People in the chat room, how does Sam sound now, and is there still an echo? Spooky, talk to me. You're my technical wizard in the chat room.
It stopped now.
That's the echo stopped. Whatever I did worked. And can Sam hear? Can you hear Sam as well? Is Sam coming through loud and clear?
Boost Sam though.
Boosting Sam as we speak. I just don't want to boost him too much.
Thank you.
Right, I think we're good, Sam. No echo. Okay, right. I'm going to. Sam's low. I don't know how to get Sam high. Right, Spooky, get in here and tell me how to fix this. Let me send you a link, Spooky. I've got way too many screens up. Let me organise myself, Sam. I should be with you. I thought I had this all figured out last week. So unprofessional. Let me get rid of a couple of screens. You can see this is the Sunday Chill. I'm being very relaxed about this. Probably because I've not got Robin here shouting at me saying, Davey's doing it wrong, Davey's doing it wrong. Jings, I can't even think.
Oh, Davey, you know if she was here, she would tell you you're a lovely gentleman.
Yes, I know. Superb, professional like. Spooky, I'll send you a link on Twitter. Probably the easiest way, if I can find you. There you go. Jump in whenever you're ready, dear sir. Bang. It's nice to be nice, and it'll be nice to see you. Sam, I don't know what to do about the audio. I've boosted everybody. I don't know. I'll have a listen and see if I can.
This is the first time this has ever happened. I think. I know Hangouts.
Spooky, I'll send you a link on Twitter. Probably the easiest way, if I can find you. There you go. It'll echo in a minute. Jump in whenever you're ready, dear sir. I just want to hear Sam. Bang. It's nice to be nice, and it'll be nice to see you. Sam, I don't know what to do about the audio. I've boosted everybody. I don't know. I'll have a listen and see if I can.
This is the first time this has ever happened.
See, I can hear that. Sam's not that loud. Oh, hello, Brandon. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Davey, how's it going?
Hey, man, it's good. And I've got no control whatsoever over anything that I'm doing here. Oh, am I missing Hell in a Cell? Imagine that, Sam. I didn't even know Hell in a Cell was the night.
I didn't either.
Wow.
I kept up with WWE though, admittedly.
That's shocking. That's absolutely shocking. Don't know what to say about that. Maybe Johnny said will be about later. We can slag off some wrestling. Although he's probably watching Hell in a Cell, no doubt. One last invite to send out. Don't know if this person will come on, but we'll send it anyway, and you can just jump in whenever you can. And I'll say no more until the person appears, so to speak. Guys, how are you doing? Finally here. I'm going to just sit back and relax and hope that everything's okay, and maybe somebody that knows how to work OBS can come along and help me out, but I think we're all good, so to speak, just now. I have you on screen all the time, Sam. I don't know why. Let me do that. There we go.
And I don't even have anything interesting like that.
Yeah, big blue man. Brandon, how are you doing, sir? What have you been up to?
Hey, Davey, how's it going? I'm doing alright. How are you?
I'm fine. Have you been doing any more of your writing, Brandon, or any thoughts on your writing? You were saying earlier in the week you were thinking of getting a book together. Well, it was the album that you were going to cover, wasn't it? You were going to do a review of the album.
The review, it's an album review of Fear of Death by Tim Heidecker. Yeah, we're working on that. Kind of different directions, and it's kind of like a blank canvas, you know, and where to go and what to do with it. But yeah, it's been a nice Sunday. It's been quite chilly there. Had a bit of a Halloween celebration last night.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I raised a few zombies. Talked. I don't know if you saw the comedy special, but Rock and Roll Gary made an appearance at the end of this comedy special last night. It was really funny. Really, really funny. And he talked about Steve Naive from Elvis Costello.
Wow.
You know who he is? Yeah.
The keyboard player.
Yeah, he married a horse. He's had children with him. And I believe he married the horse, you know. So anyway, it's really funny to do that stuff.
Oliver's Army is here to stay.
That's right. And that's about him marrying the horse. Yeah, you see. It's about Oliver's Army is about his love for the army of horses.
A lot of people don't know it's backmasked, so whenever you play it backwards, it's like, fucking a horse, hip hip hooray!
I once had a very dodgy experience with a horse, a male horse, a stallion it was. As we were at college, when I was at college, and as part of the training at college, we had to do like estate work. And they wanted us to, as a group, my class, they wanted us to make this thing called I think it's called a teasing board. Do you know what a teasing board is?
No, can't say I do.
They use it when horses go into season. So it's like two huge big, like 8-foot rectangles of wood with a gap in the middle and ropes either side. And they bring the stallion in and they put him between the teasing board and then like tie him in so he can't move, and then they parade the mares around about him. And you can imagine that he gets very excited, obviously. We had to build this for an estate management course that we'd done, and they wanted to demonstrate the use of it after we had built it for them. So we built this teasing board, they'd bring the stallion in, put him in place, and they told all us to stand in a specific place, but there was this fella, we'll call him James for the minute, that wasn't his name obviously, but I'm going to call him James. And me and a couple of my friends had managed to convince James to stand at the other end of the teasing board to where we were told to kind of stand at a specific point, and it was when the kind of stallion got very excited. And as they were parading the mare round about, this stallion reared up and came all over James. It was hilarious. It probably wasn't hilarious for James, but I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I mean, I don't know if you've seen a stallion as he's getting excited. He's like quite a large boy, obviously, like, you know what I mean? But yes, it's a good story to start off the Sunday channel. So you were saying, Brandon, your that Halloween special was a spooky Tim Heidecker Halloween special.
Yeah, it was a comedy special that he actually did about 10 years ago or so. But it's just really funny. It was just really funny. It premiered on YouTube. It had about 7,000, 8,000 live viewers at one time. Did really well. It was free. So that was a lot of fun. And it was really funny to hear Rock and Roll Gary at the end. That was a big surprise for me, of course. You know, it was really nice. So, but apparently no one can hear me and Sam. We can hear.
Try and suss this out right now.
Keith has a suggestion in the chat. He said, I don't know what this means because I don't know shit about computers, but He says he would try to add another audio input and select the computer as it's in.
I think I've just done that, Sam.
Okay.
Somebody in the chat room, tell me now that you can hear Sam and Brandon, please. You should be able to, after I've done that. I've had a little problem with my audio input and my audio output. There we go, Brandon is better. Brandon is better any time, Keats. You should all know that. There we go. I think we're all rolling now. I know what it is. See?
Nice.
On OBS, I'm going to explain this to you guys, right? Because once I've explained this, then the next time that happens, yous can explain it back to me, okay? And then I'll be able to figure it out. I keep forgetting. We have 2 scenes in OBS when I start. One scene is the orb of expanding process. The other scene is us here in this little googly hangout talking. So, in the scene with the orb of expanding process, I have audio output in there. Now, when I put audio output into the other scene, seemingly it doesn't work. Because what I've just done is deleted scene 2 and the audio's come on in scene 3. So you can only have audio input and outputs on one scene at a time as far as I'm aware at the moment. Does that make any sense?
Not to me, but probably to some of the audio engineers out there. You know what I mean?
I think what I'll do this week is go back and listen to this bit 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, there you go.
and then maybe it'll make some sort of sense to us. Maybe it'll make some sort of sense to us.
You know, I wanted to say this. Have you guys seen this documentary series on HBO called The Vow on the Nexium? Yeah, it's fascinating, man. It's absolutely fascinating. It's on the. I've been talking to the people who are involved in this thing. It was actually a cult called the Nexium cult, and it was kind of one of these like human potential movements, executive success thing. But it turned into like the worst cult of all time. Like, well, not of all time, you know what I mean? But the guy's being sentenced. His name is Keith Raniere. And he's one of these, everything. He was just a master manipulator, mind control, NLP, you name it. And he sucked in all these like kind of wealthy people to kind of prop him up, almost like sort of like you see with New Age gurus today, and many different. He kind of fled to Mexico, and they caught him and stuff. Fascinating documentary. I think, Prag Magic knows about it. I think, but it's just like. It's an intense story. It really is an intense story. It's really crazy. It's spookier than any Halloween thing because it's real life. You know what I mean?
What was the name of it again, Brandon?
The Vow.
The Vow.
Yeah.
V-O-U-L.
No L, just V-O-W.
Oh, the Vow. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. The Vow.
It's all in the accent.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It sounds really good. Maybe you give it HBO. You said
HBO. It's on HBO. I think the final episode is tonight, but they've just been renewed for like a sort of a season 2 because the story's ongoing. And he took in like all these very influential people, like actresses, almost like a mini Scientology, if you will. It was fascinating. He was obsessed with L. Ron Hubbard. He was obsessed. It's just an amazing, amazing story that I think. If we get some people to watch it and talk about it, it'd be interesting because you can see the parallels with the UFO conspiracy theory world cults or even the QAnon cults or any things like this,
Yeah, cool. Prag's obviously mentioned it. Keith, I can't put my glasses on. Keith
Raniere.
Keith Raniere. Hold on, I get my glasses, then I can reach it. There we go.
Yeah, so I'm going to be Keith Raniere for Halloween. Or Jimmy Savile. I was.
Oh God, Brandon.
But no one in America would know.
I'm not sure about that. I'm pretty sure folk would know who Jimmy Savile was in America.
I mean, we know who he is, so that says something. But
yeah,
the very fact that you know when you want to dress up with him, dress up as him, dress up with
says
him.
A lot.
That's not the wrong thing. That's the right thing to say.
Savile was a
Spooky, welcome.
Howdy. Were you guys just talking about The Vow on HBO?
Yeah, absolutely.
We
Yes,
were,
Yeah.
yes. Do you know of it, Spooky? Nice glasses.
I am
Nice.
currently like 6 or 7 episodes in. In the past day, I've just like binge watched it. It's really weird.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, it's incredible. I think it's incredible. It's like it's absolutely.
It's a crazy window into a world, man.
Yeah, it's scary. Talk about spooky. You know, it's this guy.
That should be the advert. Spooky just saying, it's a crazy window into a world, man.
You know, that was really weird for a second. I forgot to close my YouTube, so there was loads of talking, and I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?"
You should try it. You should try it at this end. Spooky. I've got like 20 screens up.
Oh god, that sounds crazy.
I am in control now. It's good to see
But
you
yeah,
back, sir.
Spooky,
Not
you've
spoke
seen
to you in a wee while. But yes,
Yeah.
nice to see you, man.
It's good to be back. How have you been?
I've been good. I'm surrounded by cats at the minute. I need to kind of let them chill out. Look, this is ridiculous.
That was a loud meow.
Yeah, you see him? It's like...
No.
That was a very...
I decided
Anyway.
that I was taking the couch back today. I've been on the floor since I moved into the new flat. So I moved the couch over towards the computer and I've made myself a wee space here. But the cats are not having it. They're like, we're going to come and just sit all over the top of you. We don't care anymore. So, bloody cats. I love you too.
That's what they do.
Stop licking my leg. I'm on camera.
I've recently moved as well, and I've been sat here thinking like, I need an animal. I feel like I need love.
You know, maybe this kind of brings me on to one of the topics I wanted to talk about tonight. Someone else who might come on later on tonight, I hope they do, was saying to us earlier in the week that they had been thinking about getting a pet. And in this case, to start off, it was a dog. They were thinking about getting a pup or a dog. But they decided that maybe a dog would be far too much of a handful for them. So they're thinking about getting kittens. And they've been debating about it for about the past kind of 3 or 4 weeks. And I was like, just do it. Just do it. If it's something that you think about and you think that it's going to be a good thing, just do it. Just go and get it, yeah? It's part of this whole kind of inspiration thing that I've got going on just now with people in that I think people are lacking inspiration because of the times that we're living in. The sadness, the depravity of it all, this kind of being locked in and locked away yourself and stuff.
There's no original movies, it's all reboots.
There's never been an original movie in years, Spooky. But yeah, that's the thing, you know. So what do you guys think about pets and getting them and maybe, I don't know if getting a pet in a time of need's a good idea, or like if you think you should have a pet, then you should get a pet, I think, yeah?
Having a pet's wonderful. I think it's just something that like you can't, you just gotta like do it when the time is right for you, I guess. I mean, financially, emotionally, everything.
I was a bit like that with Bob and Gajira. When I got Bob and Gajira, it was friends that had said to me, "Oh, we know this person that's got kittens. Would you like one?" And I was like, "No, I've just moved into a flat. I want a place to myself. Blah 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 blah." Within 2 days, I'd went to see the kittens, and I'm like, "Oh, that one's Bob, that one's Gajira. They're coming home with me," and that was it. And the thought is, it's a case of, if you're going to have a pet, it's part of your life. So even if you're in sort of like a bad situation, and I don't think a bad situation, you know, it's you can afford, you know, a cat. And like my cats don't eat me out of house and home. You know what I mean? They get fed every day. They get everything that they need. It's not a hard thing to do. You know what I mean? The thing I'm trying to say is that it's like a family member. You just make do. You know what I mean? They come to live with you, and then that's it. And everything that you do, you have to do it by their standards, or to fit them in, so to speak. Like me moving house here, everybody was like, "Oh, what you got to do about the cats? What you got to do about the cats?" Well, I'm taking the cats with me.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't even be a question.
I kind of like chuck them out in the street. You know what I mean? It's like they live with me, they stay with me. They're as good as their family. You know what I mean? How could, like, he's by my side kind of constantly. He's looking away now because he's like, I don't like how you're talking. You said you were putting me out in the street. I never said that, Kachero. I would never do that to you. But yeah, I think animals are a great thing to have, especially just now. You think of loneliness, you think of lack of compassion and stuff like that. I'm not being funny, but times when I'm sitting kind of depressed and I'm alone, Bob can jump up onto my lap and I can sit and pet him for like 5 minutes, and my kind of mindset totally changes just by his purring and stuff. I was lying on the couch the other night and I'd kind of dozed off and I wasn't feeling too good. I must have kind of dozed off for like half an hour or so, and I woke up with Bob lying on my chest, but his kind of head, his throat, if you like, was lying on my throat, and his chin was on my chin, and I could feel the vibrations of him purring through my throat, and it occurred to me, I wonder if Bob can sense that I'm upset, or, you know, that I'm depressed, or even taking it a wee bit further, the whole angina thing. I wonder if he can sense when, you know, I've got a sore chest, or my heart's giving me jip or whatever, like, you know. And him lying on top of me with those vibrations, I wonder if it has any effect to me. You know, we're not able to talk to cats, we're not able to say to cats, why are you breathing like that, why are you and everything's like moving. It's really big purrs, like, you know. I think it's totally that they pick something up and they're able to kind of do something with that vibration, if you like, yeah. Any thoughts, MD?
Like, I don't know. I love cats. I love my cats. They, I don't know. It's kind of like my child. No exaggeration. I
totally get that, Sam. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that about moving the house and like people saying, "Well, what are you going to do with the cats?" Because that's actually how I got one of my cats. Or, well, no, both of them really. I got Noodle because he belonged to our neighbors, and they moved and they just left him there. They just abandoned him. But even when they lived there, they never really took care of him. He was quote unquote theirs, but he just kind of stayed outside, and like he ate birds and squirrels and stuff, so I don't think they fed him. And he was kind of halfway feral, and I adopted him. It was a little bit of time. You know, I got to tame him down. I got to where I could touch him, then I got to where I could pet him, then I got to where I could pick him up. So I adopted him about 7 years ago, and then when my dad passed away, I adopted his cat. And you know, so it's one of those things where I never really went out and said, "Hey, I want a cat," or "I'm going to buy a cat," or something like that. It was more just circumstance and being at the right place at the right time. But yeah, it is emotionally comforting, and you know, even though they don't speak like humans do, it's just comforting to have something that loves you there in the house with you for emotional support.
I've been noticing the vibration thing lots recently, especially with Bob. Hey Bob. He jumps up quite a lot. He purrs quite heavy, like he really purrs heavy. But I've noticed when he's lying on my chest nowadays, because it's something that I didn't used to let him do quite a lot, was sort of lie on my chest, because it gets quite heavy, obviously. But since I moved here, he's been doing it a lot, because I'm lying on the couch. But his purring changes when he's lying on top of me. And I kind of wondered why that was. I was like, is it just simply that you're more relaxed? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or can you sense something? Is it like the dog sniffing cancer or whatever? Is it, you know, he senses maybe that there's something wrong with me, and the vibrations that he gives off vocally could be doing something to my body that I'm maybe not aware of, yeah.
I think
I'm talking like a total freak, but yeah.
No, I think Bob agrees with you.
It does.
I think so too.
Every pet I've ever had, it's been like, it's not something that I needed in my life at that time, it's what they needed. Like, every single one's been a rescue. So it's I like that. I don't like getting like puppies and supporting that kind of trade of animals. I'd rather like take animals that have not had a good time and show them love. And
yeah, those are often like the most appreciative. They
Yeah.
really back.
Right, enough. We'll not talk about cats anymore, okay? my first pet was a dog called, well, it was actually a cat called Whiskey that my mum got. I think it was my first birthday, my uncle gave it to her, and it became my cat and lived for about 23 years old. Watch your cables, Bob. But the first pet officially I had, I guess, was a dog called Sam, and Sam lived till he was about 23 as well. And he would follow me everywhere. I would literally, I'd like go to school, and he would be like waiting out the school gates for me coming out and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
He was genuinely like my shadow. But when I got him, it was
Wait,
kind of funny.
he was your Sam Shadow.
Oh, see that?
Oh.
See that? Well, anyway, I think when I got him, I was 5 years old. No, I was 6. I'd been primary school, kind of primary 2, and my friend Jackie had told us that he had pups. So me and my friend Johnny went to Jackie's house, and I took a pup, and Johnny took a pup, and this was after school, and we just went home with our pups. So I basically walked in the house with this pup, and my mum went crazy. Oh, we're not having a dog, you can't have a dog, blah, 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 blah. I remember that it was in the winter time, so it was kind of dark outside when I'd got home from school, and I was distraught because, in my understanding, if I hadn't took this pup, then Jackie's dad was going to get rid of the pups in some way. It wasn't going to be good, and I couldn't have that, you know. So I couldn't take the pup back, and I was like, Mum, we need to keep him. You know, he's got nowhere else to go, and I'm greeting and all the rest of it. No, we can't have it. Your dad's no even here. Wait till your dad gets home. He'll tell you can't have it. Go and take it back. And I went out and I chapped every door in the street, asking people if they would take this wee pup, because I didn't want to take it back to the people that it had to go back to. Tears and everything. And they chapped every door, nobody would take it. Ended up back at the house, and I'm like, I can't take it. We need to keep it. We're not keeping it. Get rid of that dog. And I ran out the house with Sam, and I took him into my backyard, and I put him in a cardboard box, and I sat him between the bins. And I went back into the house, and my mum's like, did you get rid of the dog? I was like, yeah, it's away, it's not here anymore. And it's like, you go to your bed, just wait till your dad gets home. And I was like, oh, I'll go to my bed and lie about greeting and stuff. And maybe an hour or something had passed. And my brother is going out to take the rubbish out to the bins, obviously. Finds a cardboard box with the dog, and he goes back in, and he's like, what's the dog, what's this about? And I was like, maybe the bin men will take it and look after it. You know what I mean? I can't take it back. And he's like, oh, no, and he brings it in, and my dad's in and all the rest of it, and I can hear everybody talking in the living room, and I get shouted on, it gets told to come through. The dog can stay for one night, but then you're taking it back in the morning. And I was like, okay. I goes to my bed. My dad was a postman. So I got up 8 o'clock the next morning, walks through the living room, dog's nowhere to be seen. I'm distraught. Oh, where's the dog? My dad had took it out with him when he went to these post runs, and he'd come back in about 10 minutes later, and there's a wee dog following behind him, and he's like, oh, this wee dog's brilliant, he can stay. 23 years later, Sam was with us all at that time. And he became really famous in New Hill because like everybody knew him because my dad was the postman. To the extent that at Christmas time, we old grannies would knit him like a coat with pockets in it that he could put letters in when he was walking about with my dad because he was like the post dog. And he was absolutely amazing. I loved him to bits. He was the best kind of pal a kid could have growing up, and I think maybe probably gave me the understanding of loving animals the way that I do, just because I had that pup, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, God, Sam, I miss you loads. Brandon, did you have any pets growing up?
I had a cat.
Yeah. What was your cat's name? I didn't know you had a cat.
Snuggles.
Snuggles. Oh. What kind of cat was he, Brandon?
I don't know. Do they have different breeds? It was like just a regular cat, you know. I don't know.
A moggy, we call that in Scotland.
Yeah, it kind of looked like a cat. And no, but I was very close to it, you know. So close, in fact, like it lived about 22 human years. I don't know what that is in cat years, but
wow, that was the same as Whiskey. My cat lived about.
When it died, I had a dream that it came to me and was purring like crazy. You know, it was like purring. It was so happy. It was so happy. And I reached out and I was petting its big fat belly because it was a big house cat. I would not let it outside because I was afraid it would get hurt, because it would get hurt sometimes, and I would have to shake the food box for it to run into the house and stuff like that. So, yeah, I had a cat, I had a hermit crab, I had dogs.
Wait. You had a pet hermit crab?
Yeah, I did.
That's a crazy pet.
Oh yeah.
What do you do with a pet hermit crab? Dare I ask?
Get it shells, and you get it aquarium. And you kind of let it walk around and stuff.
So it was like in a tank and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But
well, I did keep tropical fish, but I don't know if I classed them as pets. It was more like a collecting thing rather than.
Yeah, no.
Because you can't take them a walk or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hermit crabs walk, and they kind of walk around a little bit. You know, well, as much as a crab. I don't know what a crab walks. You know what I mean? I don't know if you call that walking. It's gait or whatever is the little crabby.
They do that sideways shuffle, don't they?
Yeah, the sideways shuffle. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, of course, yeah. I grew up with animals and horses and things like that, you know. So dogs, you know, a lot of tragedy though too. It is associated with some of them, but that's just how it goes, you know. They pass away, and you got to get another one, you know.
I worry about that at times. These two, I mean, Bob and Gajera are 8 next year, and I know that's not old for cats. But it just worries me, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I can't think about a time when they're sort of no here, but you kind of have to. And I even see it with Bob now. He seems to be getting older, if you know what I mean. He's got loads of grey hair and he's not running about as he used to be and stuff like that. And yeah, it's the sad aspect of it. But I don't think Andy should allow that to not let them have the pleasure or the comfort of a pet, yeah?
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah. I don't know what I'd do without my two, to be honest with you. I'd be lost. I'd probably have peace.
I remember talking to somebody, though. They were like, you know, it was like, oh, you know, it's so pretty. When I wake up, my cat is licking my face. You know, it's really cute. And that really, you know, it's really special. And he said, you know why they do that? And I said, no, what is the reason? You know, really, I have no idea. And he said, it's because, you know, they're trying to see if you're breathing. Because if you weren't breathing, they would immediately eat your eyes. I was like, oh, God. Oh, God.
I always thought it was just the salt on your skin. They were just like, tasty salt.
Okay, yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, yeah, maybe.
Bob's new one is if I lie on my side, he literally comes up and spoons me. He'll go behind me and he'll put his paw up round about my neck and he's got his other 2 back paws down my back and he's literally spooning me. And I'm like, who have you seen do this, Bob? How do you know it like that? Stop spooning me.
It's the learned behavior. Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
Spooned by a cat. His other one is lying and he just slowly, he doesn't do it like straight away, but just slowly his paw will come up gradually, and then just sit on my face.
No.
What are you doing? Take your hand off my face, Bob.
It's trying to see if you're breathing. You know?
Funk jazz fusion album called "Spooned by a Cat." So that's what it sounds like. Jazz fusion.
It's gotta be
Spooned by a cat.
Jonas said in the chat saying two of his dogs, 14 and 13 next year.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Superfly, one of the name of the dogs, Jonas said. That's brilliant.
My dog is 13 now. He lives with my nan, but yeah. He's a Shar-Pei crossed with a Razorback.
Wow, cool. That sounds friendly.
He's actually like just the funniest, lovable, lazy dog ever.
Was that the pup that we saw at your mum's when you were staying with your mum?
Oh, that's my nan. That was my nan's house. But that was my dog.
He was born. He was a friendly thing as well.
Yeah, he's happy. He's just lazy. He's quite a sheltered life, so like my grandparents couldn't really take him out very often, and at the time we lived like miles away, like, and then I lived in Canada and stuff. So he's had a very like inside the house docile life, but he's still very lovable, and like I go over and I like cuddle him, and he just like cuddles me back, and he's just like, oh, and then he's like lick my face and walk off, and I'm like, now I smell like dog. Didn't think this through.
Which is not a very nice smell altogether. I don't like the smell of dog either.
It depends what he's been eating, or if he hasn't eaten. It's worse if he hasn't eaten anything. Then it's just like dry dog breath. It's like, oh.
No.
Or if he's like really, really excited and he's salivating everywhere, I'm just like avoid at all costs. But it's okay. I miss having pets.
We were talking, Brandon, about this lackey enthusiasm or lackey inspiration and stuff last week.
Right.
And we were talking about it with relation to what inspires and stuff. I was listening to Prague's excellent stream, the Liminal stream, on Monday. I can never remember the chap's name, so I apologise much. I'll look it up quickly. Eric Millar, when they were having a chat about comics and kind of what comics influenced them in the past, and kind of references to comic books and magic practice and stuff as well. And I think it was Prague that I'd heard talk about not seeing comic books anymore. And I'd been speaking to Robin and Sam about this as well, about how you used to walk into shops and see comic books everywhere, like a newsagents or comics on a comics rack and stuff like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a report this week that DC are going to limit where comics can be sold now, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the industry's going out the window anyway.
How are they going to do that?
That just, wow. That was, wow, really?
I think what's going to happen is they're going to limit their comics to comic retailers. So it's going to be comic book shops.
So no second-hand comic book shops?
Well, I guess so. I guess that would still be a thing because they're just talking about kind of new comics, like, you know.
Okay.
I think that the thing to all of this is that, look, I'm not a fan of a comic book shop. I think that comic book shops are one of the things that killed comic books. Because they made them too niche. Yeah, it made them into a specific thing. Whereas before, like, I remember being a kid, one of the first comics I ever picked up was an Incredible Hulk comic. And I picked it up in a news rack at a hospital while visiting my mum. You know, my dad was like, I'm going to go and see your mum. Go and get yourself a comic book and sit out there for 5 minutes. And I picked up an Incredible Hulk comic when I was like 4-year-old or something. And it was the randomness of being able to do that got me into comics. I think this adds to this whole, like, people's lack of imagination, so to speak, because they're no getting to see comic books just when they go for a pint of milk in the morning, like, you know what I mean, or they buy a packet of fags, or they go to buy their newspaper. Comic books are sort of no there anymore. Can you guys remember the last time that you saw a stack of comics in a shop?
Yeah.
That wasn't a comic book shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
When was that, Brandon?
Just today. No, just kidding. No, like a few months ago, but it was like I was transported back into the 1990s. It was like they had like the X-Men with the hologram. Remember they made like loads of comic books with holograms on them.
Yeah.
So it was
the whole sort of Fatal Attraction series and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Does the Waterstones count?
I don't know. I don't think so, because it's a thing, isn't it? I think that's.
I mean, where else do you find books and stuff in a bookstore?
Yeah, but again, I think comics were different than that, Spooky. I don't.
It's just printed media. I mean, it falls under the bracket of you pick it up and tactile read it. So to find it in a shop full of other things of that medium, it's not.
When I went into Waterstones or Borders, as it used to be up here as well, you would always find graphic novels. There was always tons of graphic novels, but no so many like comic books as such, like paper 58 issues, Batman, X-Men, whatever, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I guess the thing about comics being sold in newsagents and stuff is that it's always going to be the big titles. It's that I was Swamp Thing. I loved Swamp Thing and I love Hellblazer, but I would need to go to a comic shop to be able to buy them when I was a kid. I couldn't just go into my local newsagent and pick up a Swamp Thing or a Hellblazer, like, you know. But you'd have Transformers or Secret Wars or, you know, the current Batman or X-Man title or whatever.
I worked in the newsagents for about 2.5 years, and the way that they actually do their like magazines and newspapers and comics and stuff is it's constantly the top, most recent stuff. They don't backlog anything. Anything we didn't sell, we had to then sell back to the publisher and fill out like loads of return forms, and then they come and pick it up at like 5:30 in the morning, which was not fun. And yeah, so it was just the most recent comics all the time. So I understand what you're saying, like you don't know why you can go in and buy like a niche comic, but that's why we have comic book stores and bookstores.
Yeah. I was thinking as well, is that I listened to I don't want to say comic historian just because Brandon's here, he's reminding me a comic historian, but there's a comics guy I was listening to on YouTube, and I don't like him. And he was talking about he's more into the value of comics, and he was telling us what's current and what's coming up in the next couple of months, and then giving you a rough price guide of what you should be paying for it. So, say the Joker's War, 4-part Joker's War that had just come out in Batman, he was suggesting people were paying $25 a comic, and I'm like, what? And like it was like mad variants or whatever, or like special covers, or you know what I mean? And you're just like,
yeah.
What happened to going and picking a comic up for a buck? You know what I mean? Or like £1.25 or whatever it was, 75p when I was a kid, like, you know what I mean? And again, I think that's what comic stores have done because of their special. He was citing limited issues of comics coming out of current titles. 1, because of COVID. 2, because the bottom was going out of the comics market. And 3, because the comic book shops were getting less numbers, they were putting higher prices on the comics, therefore, you know, pricing them out the game, basically. And that means then that kids are not going to buy. Well, kids have no got access to them to start with because they're in the niche comic book shops. But even if they did have that access, they wouldn't have the $25 to spend on 59 pages of artwork, I don't think, like, you know what I mean, or want to spend that kind of money. So it pisses out the game. It takes to the inspiration thing that I was talking about, comics for me growing up were a huge inspiration, obviously.
Yeah.
And to think that that's no there as a thing anymore is nuts.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
Brandon?
well, I was just gonna say, like the main thing I think you're getting at is that the profit motive has superseded everything. Like it's all about money. Like Spooky said, you got to sell back to this and that, and you got to sell this. It's all about profits and margins, and and that's what's driving sort of society, which is a terrible model to drive beauty and art and inspiration. So no wonder why things are lacking.
Do you think during the times that we're in, Brandon, that more so? You know what I mean? Maybe.
No, I think no, because I think hard times bring about even more inspiration. If you consider this hard times, look at World War II. Look at the UK and World War II. Look at World War One, Civil War. I mean, a lot of that, some of the greatest art comes out of the hardest times and the toughest circumstances and the biggest constraints. A lot of music, a lot of artwork from way back. So no, I think people should be inspired, but I'm sure it has a lot to do with it. People are worried about how to eat. You can't paint the Sistine Chapel on an empty stomach. You know what I mean?
Where's the music that's coming out for the times that we're in just now? I don't. Maybe I'm just not looking right, but I don't see anybody singing songs about COVID. I don't see anybody writing books about
Van
COVID.
Morrison. Yeah.
Oh God, don't mention that.
That
my heart broke a little bit.
COVID superheroes out there. Hello, Keats. How you doing? I'm glad you joined us, man.
Hi, Keats.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey.
Yeah, not too bad.
Can you hear me okay?
Before we bring it here, I'm sure Keats will want to say lots about comics, but let me round this up. Let me round this up.
He doesn't know anything
quickly.
about.
One other thing occurred this week that totally shocked me, and has sent me into a state of disarray. I do not know what the world is going to become. How people are going to be able to have the inspiration that they need to have the free lives that they need if they're not going to have any cinema. How is a world going to exist when there's no cinema out there? This is a provable thing now. No Time to Die was supposed to come out last March. It got delayed to November. I bought my tickets for November. Stupid me. It's not going to come out in November. It's going to come out in March next year now. Well, it just got released this week that because there's a good possibility that the cinema chains that have shut down just now, definitely in the UK, the cinema chains that have shut down just now, Cineworld, Odeon, are not going to be able to reopen again as soon as next summer. Like, if they have to go under restrictions until March or summer next year, they're gone. There's nothing left of that industry. So
the huge problem, though, is the films themselves. Theaters are basically franchises that rent out the movies. And so when you have Disney canceling the release of Mulan, you have theaters like completely losing their viableness to survive because that was their big, or No Time to Die. And it's studios that are they're saving themselves. They're making sure that they can make as much money as they possibly can with their release. I read the other day that No Time to Die, they were investigating a $600 million streaming idea for it. Nice. So there's no love with movie theaters, and studios. They don't give a shit about them, and they've always way high marked out their movies. I mean, so you're watching the death of major movie theaters right now. And it is sad because as an American kid, growing up in the Southwest, that was kind of like my church. Scrounge up couch change to go see a movie every week. And to lose that, there is this sense of deep communal loss, even though the whole system's fucked. It's not a great thing to be throwing money at, really. But I think you're going to see the advent of a lot of smaller market theaters, a lot of like independent theaters, and I think you're going to see a huge boom and independent outreach for creators and stuff, which I think is a total plus.
I agree with you there, Keats. I was going to say that as well. Is like we have a lot of pop-up theatres happening, and they're essentially inflatable screens that turn up in a park,
right?
And then you just have a sit-in or a drive-in or whatever. I've hosted a few events where we've had them and they're amazing. But you don't have big movies, obviously, you know.
Well, they would have to basically rent them. Yeah. You can, like, I have a friend that opened up a bar in Phoenix called Film Bar, and it was basically exactly what it sounds. Not the most inventive name for it, but you know, it was a bar and a cinema, and yeah, they would basically just profit out how much it would cost to rent a movie, see how many people would pay for it, and it kind of worked itself out. Really, they're making money off drinks and other amenities. That's why you see so many theaters going with like dinner and like, you know, Regal pushing the 3D shit. All this.
And all the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
Jonas
it's
in
never.
The chat is saying that the Regal cinema closed. Is the Regal a big cinema chain in the States? Yeah.
I think they own a lot of the ones you were talking about.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, closing in the UK. Yeah.
Cineworld and Odeon are the two biggest
Cineworld,
markets.
yeah.
I think Arrow's another cinema chain that's kind of gone now as well. They were kind of smaller cinemas, but like
it's a fascinating time, I think, in cinema, because you'll see a lot of Twitter users like that own films smashing Mulan posters and lighting fire to No Time to Die, like posters, because they're just pissed. They're like, well, there goes my livelihood, there goes my entire dream, because they're keeping this movie from us, and that's how we make our profit, albeit a small, you know, portion. I guess that's what gets people in seats.
I guess the other side of this is as much as movie companies are holding their movies back, trying to make the biggest buck that they can out of it, other movies are stopping being made because of what's going on, because they don't have a release for it, you know. And I think the movie companies are all vying for this HBO, Netflix, Amazon, you know, Disney, whatever.
Which is too bad, you know, because I do think there's a beauty in seeing film, but it's something that, for me, film and cinema has to be experienced. And absolutely. Like, I don't want to see Tenet, you know, on a fucking, you know, computer monitor in my house. You know what I mean? Like, I want to experience how, as pretentious as it sounds, like how, you know, Christopher Nolan meant it to be seen.
Right. I agree with that.
I remember going to see Prometheus, which I wasn't too enamoured about going to see, but I was dragged to see it with like 5 mates. And I remember sitting in a cinema and watching Prometheus, and like I've got a thing. I like sitting front row in the cinema, middle front row. That's where I sit. So like the
totally
screens
enveloped
in my eye, totally. Yeah. We have curved screens. Would that be the it's IMAX, so it's like huge, big, giant curved screen. You sit middle front row, you're in the cinema, yeah. And I sat, I watched it, obviously, thought it was good film and that. And it wasn't until several months later, and it came out on DVD, and I'm watching it at home, and I realised that I'd missed half of the film because I was sitting in my favourite place. I couldn't watch. I was like, where's all these people coming from? When I watched it in DVD, who are these people in the spaceship? What's all these technical people doing?
Right, you're only getting a modicum of the entire screen.
I was only watching the actors on screen and no seeing the visuals beyond about.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
missing out on all the wee guys kind of walking about.
You never experienced the lightning shot as the spaceship comes in. Well, not properly, anyway.
Not properly, yeah. So I thought it funny, you know, the transfer from actually missing some in the cinema and then being able to see it all when you're at home. You know what I mean? Which I thought was a bit, they should be the other way around about. Surely you should be getting the full experience in the cinema. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and the transferring thing is a whole other rigmarole, like, of a game. You know, all these big new Blu-ray digital transfers that, you know, of films in the 70s and the 80s that were shot, you know, on 70 millimeter or whatever, they're going to look like shit in high definition because they weren't meant to be shot that way, you know?
Yeah, the shadows and the lighting.
Biggest thing, it just ruins cinematography of those movies because you film things to be lit and to be blocked in a certain way as
Yep.
the film that you're shooting it on, and then you do this digital transfer crap. I sound like such a raging
Well,
nerd
the
right
reason
now,
they
but
do that now, is a lot of directors don't even use those techniques anymore. They just use a bunch of CGI or like color enhancement or filters or whatever. So they think, oh, well, if we enhance it on the on a TV screen, it's going to look really good. But for all the people that use like lighting and shadows and stuff, it's going to look really bad. Like. This wasn't even on Blu-ray. I remember watching a DVD of Eraserhead, and you could see where, like the scene where the head on the little baby thing grows really long. You can see the wires attached to it. Yeah, you can. Or in Evil Dead 2, you could see the wires like towards the end.
So what was everybody's last best experience in the cinema? Anybody get anything to throw in?
It wasn't the best, but the last movie I went to see Invisible Man right before everything shut down.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never saw it. I've been told it's pants.
It's great. I would have rather have seen it in theaters because it was just so surprising when I watched it. Like everyone in the theater had no idea like what take they were gonna do on this classic Universal monster. I think the last movie I actually saw, maybe Mary can back me up, was Jojo Rabbit. So it was like the last great movie I saw in the movie theater. Terrible fucking theater experience. This was like right before COVID, and looking back, I'm like, yeah, I definitely got it. If it's a thing, like everyone was packed like sardines into the theater. It was horrible. Luckily, the movie took me out of that, but yeah, that's the last one I can truly remember.
I have two good ones that I can remember that come to mind. One was in the oldest independent theater in Canada. That was in the town that I lived in Canada. I went to see The Last Jedi on release night.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was.
Ooh, how was that afterwards? How were the drinks after that movie? were you guys stoked? Like, what was that like? Your first impression?
Honestly, like, I loved it when I left the theater. I was crying like through the movie, and I was like, "This is like the best thing I've ever seen."
You were crying through The Last Jedi.
Luke Skywalker's story, like but I thought it was good, and then I got home, and then I smoked a joint.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
and I sat there and I thought,
when he done the Joker
what?
voice.
I sat there, I smoked a joint, and I sat there and thought, wait, what?
Yeah. Not like this.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what did they just do to Star Wars? Why was I so enamored with that? They just killed Luke Skywalker in the most bullshit way. Yeah, oh cool, he can force project, but like you could have done that in a much better way than just fucking us like at the end of the movie.
That one got me because I had like so much excitement for Ryan Johnson to do it.
Yeah,
I really liked him.
Me too. Looper was a great
movie. The
movie.
entire time I'm watching it, I'm like, it's our tour ship. This is great. It's gonna be good. This is totally fine. This is great. You know?
Totally.
And afterwards, it was like no one said a word, and we just drank beer for hours.
Hesitate to say
in hindsight,
I know
though,
that it'll spark Brandon Young off. But have any of you watched The Mandalorian?
I watched the first few episodes. I thought it was there. It was okay. I like the visual aesthetic. It looked great, but I was burnt out from Star Wars.
I'm seeing posters for it absolutely everywhere now, and I don't know why it's like just getting a re-release on Disney. Or something
no,
like
season 2 is coming out.
Baby, if you taught kids like I did after that show came out, you'd have a weird disgruntled relationship with that. With that show. Baby Yoda was just on the lips and tongues of babes all across the country. It was just
we sort of experienced the whole Baby Yoda thing on the Sunday Chill with Brandon, and I don't know if I want to kind of go there for real.
Oh no,
you know what I mean?
The Yoda. That's a different thing. That's a totally different.
Oh, that's Yaddle. Yeah.
Yaddle. Postal service.
Big difference.
Yeah, I remember Brandon having. I was like an avatar of it. I was like, is that the female Yoda? You know, is that Yaddle? What is the point of this? Yeah.
In hindsight, after seeing The Rise of Skywalker on release night and walking out of that theater literally wanting to like punch somebody, I, in hindsight, actually quite still enjoy The Last Jedi. It was at least a good attempt to make a movie.
You know, I'm not that bitter about it, to tell you the truth. I think I'm more bitter about the Rise of Skywalker than I am about anything else. Yeah.
The bitterness
Like,
I had from
commit
Last
to the
Jedi
bit,
tastes
you know?
real sweet now.
Yeah, exactly.
I must totally just not be a Star Wars fan. I done the first. I've done the 3 when I was a kid, obviously. Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi. But all the other ones that came out, the only time I could ever watch them was kind of like Sunday afternoons doing nothing, stick it on the DVD and kind of have at it, like, you know what I mean? But they never settled into me the way that Star Wars or Jedi or Empire done. And I think obviously because I was a kid back then when I watched them, and they had significant effect on me as sci-fi films. And couldn't they be copied, like, you know what I mean, or recreated?
I got full effect. It's like that. Few other things that completely tethered Batman, like completely tethered me and my brothers and my father. Like it was something we shared generationally, you know, and it was like exciting. Also, you know, I was a kid listening to Joseph Campbell tapes, you know, Mass of Eternity and shit when I was young, and like head being exploded going, oh my God, you know, Luke's the hero's journey. You know, all the obvious shit you hear all the time now. But when you're a kid, you're like, this is, you know, a great parable. A great cosmic parable.
That's weird. You just sparked a flashback in me there, Keats, and I'd never remembered something to Norwich that wasn't there, but Star Trek for me. I
Me
remember
too.
sitting watching reruns of Star Trek on BBC Two with my brothers and my dad.
X-Files too, Spooky.
And they being really into that. Like,
X-Files and Star Trek and the movie Twister and Star Wars is all my dad.
I was going to ask you what your second film was, Spooky, but is it Twister?
No, right. So the other film was The Martian. I saw it in an empty theater in the center of Oxford on the balcony, and I had the screen like in 3D just perfectly in front of me, and it was just, I was like really, really high. And it was like an 11 o'clock at night showing. I think there was like one reviewer that it was release night, and there was like one reviewer down in the bottom, and I had like the whole top balcony to myself, and I was just sat there like big thing of drink, big thing of sweets. Hands down, the most like resonating movie for me at that time of my life ever. I left that theater just like, I had already read the book and loved the book, but to see one of my favorite books come out in such a visually pleasing way, and one like Matt Damon as that character worked perfectly in my opinion.
I like The Martian. Martian was a good film. I don't know if this needs addressing, Brandon, but Michelle Embry is claiming that you were dating Yoda at one point. It's in the chat room. I don't know if you want to make any reference to that.
I heard he was dating a Ferengi, but that's just me.
It's true. Both of them is the problem, you know.
He's got a fetish about ears.
Yeah, the thing is,
Ferengi wants to buy the human. Okay.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing is I love the ears, but I love the last film I saw was Joker in the theater.
Oh yeah, I saw that in theaters.
My last cinema movie as well, Brandon, was the Joker.
Can you believe that's been 1 year ago?
Yeah,
as of this month?
No, it's cool. Yeah, you guys can all copy me. That's fine.
I still haven't seen Joker.
I mean, I saw it in theaters.
Oh,
Wasn't
really?
my last though, Brandon.
Yeah, same. Like
the Joker.
I feel like it was like an ideological kind of one-sided movie.
The Joker's one of those few films that when I walked out of the cinema, I turned round and walked straight back in and watched it again. And I done 2 settings just because the first time I was just like blown away and didn't really know what to think of it at all, and I thought I hated it. But the second sitting straight away, I was able to take me in, and I was okay. It's killing joke, fair enough.
You
but,
walked
it's
in,
a good attempt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I got a lot to say about it, but we should probably reserve another stream.
He walked into the theater, and he walks out and then decides that's a good film. I don't get it.
Yeah, he looked back. He walked back in the theater, saw it on screen for a second, and goes, "Yeah, all right."
Yeah,
It was a movie.
That's okay.
It was a movie I watched.
We live in a society.
Yeah.
We
2 hours of that
we
beat.
never finished our like Westworld dialogue that we were having months ago.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's a good point.
You know, after the finale happened,
maintenance season
I
ends,
managed to
Spooky.
get Jonathan Nolan to come out of Reddit hiding to respond to me on Reddit, and I was the
What?
only comment that he left during the entire season run.
What?
You're right, you get you get
For real,
Nolan.
my Reddit name is not Jonathan Nolan, and I made a joke about lurking on the Westworld Reddit, and then he lurked on my comment saying, "Actually, yeah, I would."
I'm not spooky.
But yeah, I managed to entice Jonathan Nolan into commenting back to me, and I was the only thing that he posted on Reddit for the entire season 3 run. And I was like,
You're
"Oh
just-
my
you're
god!"
just- you're
It was
just
in the
trying to-
hours after the finale. I
You're
was like,
just trying to one up me for last week when I told everybody about James Spader retweeting one of my tweets about Brandon.
For real?
Yeah, that was my claim to fame last year.
James Spader retweeted.
I done an impression of Brandon on the Sunday Chill, showing everybody this fine bottle of beer that he had got from somewhere I can't remember, and I'd done an accent over the top of it, and then we'd put it on Twitter. Brandon had retweeted it on Twitter, and James Spader had retweeted it saying that it was hilarious.
That's awesome. I'm a huge James Spader fan.
He did.
You know, that's weird synchronicity. James Spader.
I want to
came
talk
up
to
in
him
a-
about Crash. That's for sure.
I never saw Crash. I heard
It's
about it.
It's an even better book with J.G. Ballard.
Right.
But yeah, if you, I'll just leave it at that. You should go see it.
Gotta find the time. I've
If
got a
you
lot
like
coming
car
up
wrecks
next
and
week.
sex, you're gonna love this book.
David Cronenberg.
Car accidents while having sex.
Yeah. Actually, Sam, last night I rewatched Nightbreed.
Oh,
and David
cool.
Cronenberg's
Nightbreed's
acting
years.
is, I can't tell if it's brilliant or
Yeah.
just
Or
like
awful.
awkward. Yeah.
that Nightbreed's one of those movies that I remember watching years ago, and then like years later thinking, "Oh, that's a brilliant movie." Going back
Right.
and watching it and thinking, "What the fuck?" Yeah.
I love the design. Like the design
Guy
of
with
the
the
serial
horns and
killer
stuff.
is
The gate and
is
stuff.
horrifying. But yeah, I had a Clive Barker night last night. I rewatched Masters of Illusion,
Oh,
which is so underrated. Such a good movie. I mean, it's kind of noir-esque. You know, you got some desert occultism shit in it. It's great. It's like right up my alley. I was like, holy yeah. I remember a lot of this movie and just forgot to cite it as one of the ones that I dug when I was a kid. And then I finished it with Nightbreed, and I'm sitting there. I could not for the life of me figure out if David Cronenberg was just like transcending acting so much to the point where I was like, he has to know. I mean, he's gotten the best performances as a director. Like he has to know what he's doing.
Did
he
Cronenberg
has
do
to know he
Nightbreed?
sucks. Huh?
Well, yeah.
Was Nightbreed a Cronenberg film?
Oh, it's a Clive
No,
Barker
it's the
film.
Clive Barker film, but David Cronenberg plays the therapist slash
Oh, I
killer.
didn't know that. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The guy with the
He's
bag
very
on his head.
understated, and he just talks like this.
You've been on this horror kick for the past couple of weeks. I'm asking people on Twitter about their favourite Halloween films. What's the movies you've been watching for Halloween? I saw the list that you've been putting up.
Oh yeah, I don't know, the last week or so I've just tried to watch a movie every day, and as I've been going along, I've been tweeting them out in a thread. But let's see, I watched
Who's
them.
the standout ones?
The standout ones. Oh God, I don't know, but because I really like a lot of these. Houseu or House.
Oh, House is so good.
Yeah. It's a horror movie, but it's so much more than just that.
It's ridiculous.
It's
yeah.
a very endearing movie.
House 2?
House.
No, Houseu.
Oh, okay.
House.
House
House
2
2.
is also a great film. House 2, Part 2. Or House 2.
Oh yeah, that's an American movie though. This one's a Japanese movie.
I've been holding off and want to watch something because I can't find a film, but for some reason I've had Pet Sematary ringing in my head, and I don't know if that's a movie that I want to go and watch or not.
That's a good movie. I haven't seen the remake, but I actually wanted to make I don't know if I should talk about it because somebody else will go off and make the video, but like I actually had an idea for a magic video based off of something in Pet Cemetery, and it was how spirits can not really manipulate but influence situations. And my character, or what made me think of it, was the character from Pet Cemetery, the ghost that got killed in the was it a car crash or a motorcycle crash? You know what I'm talking about, right?
No, it's been that long for I saw it, I don't remember it. That's why I'm thinking about watching it again.
He can do things like he can influence people to do things like the wife is traveling across country because she had to go on like a business trip or whatever towards the end, and he keeps like the ghost keeps influencing people or situations so she can get there faster. Like she's hitchhiking and the ghost influences the truck driver to let her get a ride and stuff. But the reason I thought about that is it's kind of how spirits work. Say if you commissioned a spirit to do something for you, it's really, if you look at magic objectively, it's just a series of circumstances. So I don't know, I thought that was really cool. I thought it might be worth making a video out of one day.
Cool. So let me just go over these notes for my next video that I'm gonna do.
Basically, just chill out and watch Pet Cemetery, and you'll know as much as I do. That's the only reason I haven't made it, because I haven't rewatched the movie in a while either.
Yeah, I felt that. Well, we're gonna talk tomorrow night I'm gonna talk with Thomas Sheridan about occult and modern cinema, and like Clive Barker's an easy one to go to, but even with these Ari Aster films, I don't want to give too much away. A lot of it is still like this fear mongering. The occult is like some kind of horror trope used.
What do you think
Devil
about?
Rides Out? Some classic Hammer horrors with Christopher Lee.
Of course.
Satanic Rites of Dracula. Some great 60s. I don't know if I like calling them occult films. I don't think they're occult films, but
no,
fashionably occult, you might say. Yeah.
What do you think?
More, aesthetic.
Yes. What do you think of Kenneth Anger?
What do you mean? What do I think of Kenneth Anger?
I mean, what do you think of his movies?
Have you seen some of the music videos I did for The Past Man?
No.
Yeah, got a lot of Kenneth Anger up in there.
He's a good example of somebody.
He's perfect. That's really on the nose. So we're talking more like in contemporary modern cinema, using like the occult as a trope or as an aesthetic or something. And
okay.
Yeah. That's like super on the nose. That's why in the comics one, I didn't want to talk too much about the Invisibles, or even Swamp Thing.
Okay.
We're gonna chat
then, Keats, and some of the movies that you may be talking about.
What's that?
Can you give us a flavour of the chat with Thomas Sheridan and some of the movies that you might be talking about?
Yeah, so the reason why I wanted to talk to Thomas is he had a review on Hereditary, and that I found like hilarious.
I did too.
And I, walking out of that movie theater, had the same arguments with people, and especially with Midsummer. So I bring up Ari Aster a lot, who's the director of both. And Midsummer, like, felt like a anti-pagan propaganda film. It was like The Other was just a new theology that these American kids weren't familiar with. Obviously, there's murder and all that shit, but it's funny. It's like these famous films using, paganism and occultism as tropes to push the like spooky narrative.
Hello.
Yeah, the spooky narrative.
Have any of you ever seen Ad Astra?
Oh, of course.
Speaking of
saw
occult
it.
movies, I saw that whilst flying over the Arctic, which was pretty damn cool.
Oh wow,
that is beautiful.
At nighttime, that was really.
To me, that was more of a father-son movie. But
to me,
that's
that was like it was a vague attempt at a Kubrick movie,
right,
without any emotion. It was like as if Hal was the main character.
Right.
Well, to me, that would be like if in Interstellar was too much emotion.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Ad Astra was not enough, and in the middle you had 2001.
You know, Ad Astra.
And that's actually dead on.
To the stars. To the stars.
You're right.
To the Stars Academy, Tom DeLonge.
Yeah,
That's right.
Woo!
Did it?
Did you notice the Masonic imagery throughout that movie? Like, I was on the plane, just like, no fucking way, no way, and I'd look out the window and I just see like a vast expanse of ice, and it's just desolate, like this movie is of emotion, and I'm just like, oh god, Masons run the world, no.
What were
So,
you
like,
doing flying over the Arctic, Spooky?
I was taking a red-eye flight back in December when I flew back.
You know what's interesting? I found about Ad
With
Astra
synchronicity.
is that they have this idea of like no spoiler alert. Well, spoiler alert, but the father, Tommy Lee Jones, to Brad Pitt's character, is like, we searched, we looked out there. There's nothing out there. There's no consciousness out there. We're it. I thought that was really fascinating.
I found it interesting from a psychological perspective because the whole movie is about Brad Pitt repressing his shadow, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And like once he confronts his father, and his father is the shadow, it's by the end of it, my head was just exploding.
This is
okay.
Go back and rewatch, I think.
I was gonna say, because when you break it down like that, it doesn't sound very, like
yeah,
because it's that, but really beautiful visuals.
Right. That was the thing that struck me the most, is where it was like lacking. Whilst it was lacking in emotion, it was plentiful in acting, because to be able to devoid it of that emotion, that takes acting. So I was really impressed. I was really impressed with how they were able to pull all that back. Yeah, to not act. And it's like they spent all the money they would have spent on emotion, they spent it on visual splendor. And some of the visuals at the end where he's like, it's the sun imagery, without like ruining the plot, the sun imagery where they overlaid a load of images on the sun, that just screamed Kubrick in my face. And I was like, I have to come back to this. So I'm actually, now that I've been thinking about it, I'm going to rewatch that movie. Because I only saw it once on a little box screen on the back of a seat on a plane. So
that's interesting. I think that's kind of to harken back to what I was talking about. Like, it banked on you having that visual experience in a theater.
Right. Right.
Like,
I have a
without
4K
that,
TV.
You're like, all you're looking at is acting and emotion, because you're like, okay, cool. Here's another CGI scene. Doesn't look
it
that
still
good.
looked good on the screen. It didn't look bad.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, you pass it off as, man, this would be a lot cooler if I saw this in a theater. Like,
right.
I gotta pay attention to the acting.
I wish that I'd seen Interstellar on IMAX.
I did, yeah. That was fun. That's why I brought that up. It was still, there's something. It seems like Christopher Nolan sometimes gets pegged so hard as robotic that sometimes he shoehorns emotion in a lot, and it's just. But that one was different, because I felt like that movie had a really strong connection with the father, like I do too.
He always does it with Michael Caine.
Of the Batman movies for Nolan.
He does it with Michael Caine.
I'm a huge fan of Inception. Inception was absolutely astounding.
Inception was pretty good.
Inception was great. I don't think it holds up as well as you remember if you were to watch it recently.
No.
Because the exposition, it's like the walk and talk. That's Christopher Nolan. Let me explain the weird concepts from the main character talking to a new character about what's going on. Same with Tenet. It was just the walk and talk.
That part is a little dramatic.
I'm really excited to see Tenet, to compare it with Inception.
Tenet is amazing.
I really liked it. But
and
again,
I won't tell you how I've seen it.
Home. Yeah, exactly. Spooky. Yeah, I'm with Spooky on that one. I won't tell you how I was able to see
yeah,
that.
it's an up and coming film that I really want to watch.
Does it have? I was just gonna ask real quick. Does this have anything to do with the Oh God, who's the guy that directed Rosemary's Baby? Fuck.
That would be
Roman Polanski.
Roman
Roman
Polanski. Yeah.
Polanski. Does this have anything to do with the Roman Polanski?
Oh no.
What do you mean?
Which does
He-
what have
he had
anything
a
to do
movie
with it?
called The Tenant.
The Tenant.
Oh no!
Oh
no,
right,
no,
yeah,
no.
no, that's
Seventies.
That's Tenant.
This movie is like
is
on
Tenet.
a whole another level.
This is a biography of David.
Yeah, Tenant meaning like
Staying at a house.
right or
Google Tenet Square.
yeah.
So what's
Literally
the
Google
word?
a Tenet Square.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
you'll-
Tenet. You're talking about Tenan.
You'll understand
Yeah.
when you see it because the box is a box of like the word tenet, and it's got like 5 different words, and it's they're all opera, tenet through the middle.
And that's one we might talk about tomorrow night.
Just
reckon-
thrown out there because of the Roman Polanski reference. The Fearless Vampire Killers is a classic.
That's a
horror
great
you
one.
want to watch with
Yeah.
It's OG. It's before he molested a 13-year-old girl in Jack Nicholson's hot tub.
And it has the obligatory female vampire in the loose fitting white gowns wandering about, showing off all the
So,
stuff.
what did you all think of the end of Westworld? Because we never discussed it.
Jing, Spooky, I can't even remember the end of Westworld. Yes, I can.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen the end of Westworld, just turn your mic off or your audio off for 1 minute.
I remember Bernard sitting at the end of the bed and realising he wasn't quite who he was, I think.
So Bernard has a moment with who was Arnold's ex-wife, who's now old.
Yeah.
And that was a really beautiful moment, and that's his like full integration moment where he becomes fully conscious. Then he goes and accesses the simulation world, all sat on the bed, and he leaves Stubb in a tub. Dolores gets captured by Serac and like has her memories systematically deleted, and she goes through her whole like process of death as an AI. So like Dolores is dead. Maeve, I don't remember what happens to Maeve. Oh, and Maeve is with Jesse from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Caleb is his name. Yeah, and that's where it ended.
They didn't really go too much into where everybody else went in the first series of Westworld to the other place.
I thought season 3 was going to go somewhere. That was my one problem, is it didn't go anywhere, really. But it did. That last episode had like 3 episodes of plot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I hope they do a full 10 episodes for season 4, because otherwise it's going to get tedious.
I still have my regret about it, in that they never really showed it as being a worldwide thing. They referred to it was all happening throughout the world and stuff, but it just seemed to be this one place that they showed you all the time, where everything was
I have
kinda
thought
going on.
that, is it going to be a fake out that season 3 was actually just a simulation run by Rehoboth?
Well, yeah.
And it comes back, and it's actually the moment after Bernard exits the door at the end of season 2.
So that's that in there. That's the real world.
Because like iterations, they run like so much quicker than real time. So like the entire season 3, I mean, that takes place over like a few months. That could be like a couple of hours in a computer. So it's just,
Yeah. Do you think,
I don't know if they'll do that, but
what do you think the new worlds will be that we get? Do you think we'll get the medieval world? Do you think we're going to get Game of Thrones and dragons and stuff like this?
I don't know. I think that was like a neat nod, but I don't think they're going to do it proper. I think it's just going to be like nods here and there to things, but they're trying to tell their own story.
I like the nod to it, and I hope that they just leave it like that. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
like
me
to see
too.
See a crossover or whatever. I think that would be a bit silly, maybe.
Maybe like a dragon like in like the end of season 5, you just see one of the dragons flying away in like a post-credit sequence, and it's just like a little joke. Like that would be funny.
York or something
But
like that.
what did you think about William getting killed by William?
Again, that was kind of mixed up, because remember when we first saw the scene with him walking into the medical centre, and the rumour was that was in the far distant future, and we still don't know if that is the far distant. We don't know what reality William was in. You know what I mean?
It's a twofold problem. So
Like you're saying
at the
about
end
the
at the end of
real thing
season
might have
1,
been a
we see
simulation.
William walk into. Oh no, sorry. At the end of season 2, we see William walk into the broken down test chamber when his daughter's there, and he goes, "Oh, I'm testing for fidelity." That's in the far, far future, like further than we've seen at all.
Yeah.
Season 3, though, I want to view it as part of like that's actually what is happening, but there's subtle seeds throughout the season, like this ongoing dialogue and joke between Dolores and this guy about living in a simulation and stuff, and that there's a part of your brain that's designed to make you believe in God and like in like a higher order, and it feels like Jonathan and Lisa and the writing team are trying to like hint that we're gonna find out and look back on season 3 and be like, oh, like they're gonna give us a whole new context for it later on. So like our worries and fears, like, oh, what's happening to the show? I don't know, what's happening to the plotting and stuff. That can be like explained later on as being that's why it was shit. It was just a simulation run by the AI, so it didn't have an actual grasp on reality.
This is the thing with Westworld, isn't it? And the whole thing could be simulation within simulations.
Oh,
and
God.
It's the thing about the makers of Westworld as well. Unlike any other TV show, I think they've really played it to the audience. Like they've gave the audience what they want. You know what I mean? But they've admitted to be playing with them at the same time. There was a few things in series 1 that happened that I kind of remember, because you got me off guard with this, but I kind of remember what it was. But it was stuff that happened that just had absolutely nothing to do with anything, and they were just kind of wee nods to the audience to see if they could see stuff. And then when you watch season 2, stuff that happened in season 1, you were just like, oh, I didn't see that, it didn't, but you knew it was obvious type thing.
Right.
The
That's
Bernard
what I
thing
feel
was
season 4 is going to do.
obviously, like,
That's what I feel season 4 is going to do. Is going to make stuff in season 3. It's like each season lays subtle seeds for the season that's coming after it. So it's like, I think of it like this: like they're trying to make like a hyperlinked show. So how like the Bible is hyperlinked, and there's like 156,000 connections between verses in the Bible, and it's somehow the most mimetic text that's ever existed. I feel like they're trying to like replicate that through the show in making a show that constantly calls back to other moments and other things, kind of like a scrambled host memory that's, kind of connecting all of these different...
That's what every art does.
Right.
Are we still talking about Westworld?
Yes.
Okay. Damn it.
Come back,
I only
Sam,
saw,
we'll change the subject.
Sorry.
I've only seen like 4 episodes of the 3rd season.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, for those 4 episodes, I was lost because I really liked the first 2 seasons.
Have you been listening the whole time?
No, I muted it.
Oh, okay, thank God.
Unmuting to see if you're still talking.
Okay, well, to be kind, we'll just stop there. But that was a good Westworld discussion.
So there's another show. I'm quickly scrolling through YouTube because I can't remember the name yet, and I'm sure somebody's done a review of it recently.
Have you ever seen Person of Interest from the makers of Westworld?
Say again? Spooky?
Person of Interest.
No, I haven't watched Persons of Interest.
It was the show that the people who did Westworld did before Westworld.
Right.
And it's this billionaire guy invents an AI that can predict crime, and he enlists another guy who's like an ex-CIA guy to like stop crimes. That's where it starts, and it goes in crazy places with this AI. It's like, it was kind of like the predecessor to Westworld, and I'm about halfway through it, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. So, just want to throw that out there. If you enjoy Westworld, Person of Interest is an excellent show, and it's the same people.
I'm still trying to find this bloody series that I've just watched that I can't remember the name. Oh, it was like 6 parts. 2 androids land on a planet, and they've got kids that they look after. Is it ringing bells with anybody?
No, not off the top of
Nope.
my
I find it. I thought it was on Netflix. It wasn't on Netflix. Maybe it was on Amazon.
Wally.
It was weird.
What the hell, Brandon?
Bear with.
That was 2 androids with kit, right?
No, it was 1 android.
There's 2 of them.
No.
Eve is an android.
And Wally is a robot.
That's right.
So there's 1 android.
What's the difference?
1. One is the difference.
Is it HBO maybe? I don't know.
I forgot about that. I forgot about his girlfriend.
See, I told you.
I've only seen that movie once, and it's been like since high school.
It is a good movie. If you watch it, it's different when you watch it as an adult. Like, you get it in a totally different way.
Yeah.
As with most Pixar movies.
No, it has a good message, like socially and environmentally and everything. I think that I just don't really like Pixar movies. Even when Toy Story came out and I was still a little kid, like something just didn't hit right with me the way that like hand-drawn cartoons did, you know?
Speaking of Toy Story,
yeah,
there's a great essay, a video essay called The Ontological Horror of Toy Story 4.
Oh Lord.
It's like, and it speaks to what we're talking about with AI and everything. It's what makes something alive in Toy Story 4. What makes sentience alive in Toy Story 4 or Toy Story? What makes, is it the googly eyes and a face? You know what I mean? Is it, what is it that makes these things animate? You know? It's a very interesting question. I'm not saying I have the answer.
Maybe it's being within the realm of like a person's perception. If they're anthropomorphized and have a face, that person then like what's the word I'm looking for? Perceives. The word perceives. That person perceives the anthropomorphized toy as having a face and
right.
Therefore a consciousness. And does it come from projected identity?
Right, but the toys. Here's the thing, though: the toys do exist beyond human perception. So they walk around, they talk to each other, and the humans have nothing to do with it. They're still, they're animated, they're conscious, they're sentient, and in fact, true. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, like, they know to play dead when the humans come in the room and stuff like that. It's really interesting. It's there's a lot more to Pixar, like you say, like movies as an adult. It's really
that's actually pretty deep. I'm actually gonna ruminate about that.
Ruminate away, Spooky. Raised by Wolves. That was the name of the show.
Oh.
Great. Yeah.
I will give you a little teaser of the trailer, if you can see that.
Oh yes.
Yes, I saw about this.
I watched this.
I'll mute my mic.
It's only 6 episodes. It's quite good. I'll keep my views on it now, but it may be something that we can watch together, maybe.
Gather round, children.
Sam, can you mute your mic?
I was programmed to protect you.
No, you're now muted.
Does anyone know the story of the 3 little pigs?
You muted it again.
The first little pig built a house out of straw. The second little pig builds a house out of sticks.
Yeah, near.
The third little pig.
I saw this trailer already. It looks cool.
He builds a house out of stone.
Ridley Scott.
A big bad wolf came along and said, little pig, let me in. Or I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in.
Big bad wolf she was talking about. That's her.
Of course, it's Ridley Scott.
Yeah, and that's the sad point about it, is that it's a Ridley Scott
Does it not live up to Ridley Scott?
It totally lives up to Ridley Scott. If you like Ridley Scott, you'll love it. I don't like Ridley Scott.
Nah.
I liked it, but it's very Ridley Scott.
He's right in hit and miss for me. I
background
find him very pretentious in terms of the direction.
Yeah, it's quite mad. But the series itself is quite good. As I said, it's only
Yeah.
6 episodes, I think.
That's on HBO, right?
HBO, yeah.
Yeah.
If folk want to give that a watch, they should give us a shout, and we could maybe arrange a wee expanding entertainment for Raised by Wolves. I forgot the name again.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
You know what? We could do like instead of live streaming the whole thing, you could actually like instead of streaming us watching it, just record a call of us watching it, and then you could put our reactions in with the clips, like a clip show.
Yeah, I've been trying to do this way. We were trying to organise some sort of wrestling show, Spooky, where we just done like a reaction show to us watching the wrestling.
I think you'd be safer moving that stuff onto Twitch, to be honest.
It's why safer, Keats?
What's that?
Why safer?
For copyright reasons.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
he's right. I don't monetize my channel, so like I don't.
Well, then yeah, you don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we copyright really? No.
I mean, I don't either, but at the same time, like it's it could take down videos.
Yeah.
On
I
YouTube.
got a video blocked worldwide last week because I played a couple of tunes I shouldn't have played.
Yeah, Twitch has like a partnership with Netflix, I believe. And
remember that time I got you got a copyright strike because I shared a picture of a Dalek?
Yeah,
just a picture.
Often. You were the copyright king on YouTube at one point for the child.
Oh no!
I released a video earlier. I wonder how it's doing.
The lizard.
Yeah, I mean, I only use my own music. I use my own imagery, except for the Halloweeny episode where the entire point was me and Douglas of What Magic Is This, like sharing media to watch and imbibe this season, and that one got hit quick.
Wow.
Yeah, I get hit all the time for my own music because I use a distribution company. They don't think it's me, and so I have to tell them, no, this is mine.
That's not.
You know?
Man in the High Castle, Keats. I watched the first 2 episodes of that and could never get into it. Is that worth going back and having another look? You're saying
I watched it years ago. I feel like it's been years ago now, 2 years maybe. I saw the first season. I really liked it. It's a Philip K. Dick adaptation.
I had the same reaction. I watched 2 episodes. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a slow burn. But I'm kind of, I don't know. I've got a minor media boner when it comes to revisionist history.
Yeah.
You know, so
I like
that was...
Woman in the Low Castle myself.
There you go. Yaddle in the Fly Castle.
Yeah.
Did you ever see For All Mankind?
Have you been watching Lovecraft Country?
Love it.
I want to. I haven't seen
I have not yet.
It's another one where I watched the first 3 episodes and then I stopped for some reason.
I know the author. I personally know the author. It's a friend of mine. He's been on the podcast that it's usually broadcast every Sunday. called the Lovecraft E-Zine. If you want to go check that out, check it out. But very cool people. It's a lot of Lovecraftian authors, and some of the best people. But yeah, we recently had on the author of Lovecraft Country, which is a book, by the way. So the book is really good too. But it's interesting because Lovecraft was racist, obviously, and
He was.
but it's the Lovecraft
Is
Country.
that
flips it on
revisionist
its
history
head.
again, Prag?
No, but it gives the magic back to the black people. You know what I mean? It gives.
I think that's the more
which the black
important
people should
message that it displays is that the stories themselves are not inherently racist, and
Right.
they're not limited to any one demographic of people.
No, exactly.
So
Well, and,
it's okay to have
that
black
was
protagonists.
it was produced by Jordan Peele, wasn't it? That's
Right.
like a
That's right.
which he's doing amazing things. So yeah, I'll
from
definitely
Key
check
and
it out.
Peele, the comedy. If anyone knows the comedy of Jordan Peele,
You know, like Get Out was great, but I think Us was totally overlooked. You guys ever see Us?
I love Us.
Oh, I want to
Yeah.
check it out too.
It's
I've
great.
heard so much good shit. I wanted to see Candyman. Like I was.
Oh, I'm
really
so excited by that. It got pushed back, huh?
Yep, twice because it was going to come out in July and then it was going to come out this month, and now we don't know when the fuck it's.
Oh, the OG. I mean, that's like Chicago, like shit to the T. What was it? The something Greens project. The
Cabrini Green.
Yeah.
Green Book.
Green Green.
Yeah, Green Book.
That was a Clive Barker movie too.
Green Book?
Yeah, the Green Book. Yeah, with Clive Barker. Yep.
Viggo Mortensen. It was actually a David Cronenberg film.
It's a
Green Book.
Cronenberg film, and then Paul Thomas Anderson made a version of it, which is really brilliant. It's Blue Book. About Blue Book. If you want to find out what your car is worth, you can always.
And the Cabrini Greens.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I love the original Candyman. Is just such a.
But there's no candy. There's
I'm a
barely
nut.
any candy.
There's no candy. I know.
No candy.
It doesn't
That's
even
the
work
biggest
in
bummer.
Brandon.
The bad Halloween.
But you had a protagonist, so it was kind of like a neo-noir, but instead of a private investigator, you had a folklorist. And to me, I was like, that's my shit. Like the woman. But of course, you know, the whole advent of it was a white woman, you know, investigating the folklore of this, you know, black project in Chicago.
Right.
And yeah, to me, I don't know that I was not surprised when Jordan Peele took it over.
I was surprised to see Michael Jordan because he was from Chicago Bulls, and
sure,
he
yeah,
was in that film,
and also in Space Jam. So
yep,
right, there you go.
Not very seasonal, so to speak. But have any of you saw Black Christmas?
Oh,
of course.
Black Christmas is one of the movies that freaked me out when I was a kid.
I was going to say the OG because I think they remade it.
It freaks me out to buggery. It's that whole.
Wait, whoa, back up. It freaks you out to buggery?
Yeah. I don't think that translates as well as I think it should. The whole thing about someone being in the attic and like I moved into this flat and there's a outside my front door there's an attic slat to get up into the rafters, and the first time I walked in here and I saw that, I was just like, oh, that's creepy, I don't like that at all, and it comes from that film. It's just stayed with me ever since, like, you know? So I've got a theory kind of attic spaces and stuff like that because of Black Christmas.
I have not seen Black Christmas.
Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis, brilliant film, before Halloween.
Hey, Keats, do you like NASA history in the 60s?
Sure.
Do you like revisionist history?
Yes, I've been very apparent.
Then I have the show for you.
What's that?
It's from Ronald D. Moore.
Oh, really?
Yes. Called For All Mankind. And it's basically what if, just before America landed on the moon, Russia got there first. And it goes through, like, you know, like the space Cold War continuing through the 70s,
There's
moon
Russia.
bases. Oh, it's so good.
wait, what's the advent? What's the turn of history that they do?
Russia got to the moon first.
Well, that's. Oh, I guess that's not true, but. Well,
I mean, like they put a person. They
Well-
landed a person on the moon, and it was a woman.
Yeah, it depends on who you're asking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It was a dog as
But
well.
but basically, because Russia did that, it prolongs the space race and the battle for control over the moon because the Cold War continues.
Interesting.
Like the PR battle was not won.
and
So-
this is like a scripted fiction.
Yeah, this
so-
is like a fully realized TV show.
I love it, Spooky. Check it out
It's-
tonight.
I loved it. I watched it like weekly as it aired, and it's an Apple TV show. It started airing in like November.
Not subscribed, but that doesn't matter.
I know what you mean. Ahoy there, my Yarty.
Yes.
What was the
Exactly.
name again?
What was that?
What was the name of it, Spooky?
For all mankind.
For all mankind. Okay, cool.
Cool
We're talking
name for
about
sure.
Pirate Bay in the chat room.
I'll
Don't
have
know
to
how
put
safe
it
that
in
is.
chat to you guys, but you don't have. Never download anything. I have some. You can get anything you want visually to stream. It's the downloading that gets you in trouble.
I
So
have lockers
privately,
for things.
at people ask me, and I will send them a link to a European site that digitizes new shows across all of platforms, new films,
Is that
even
legal?
in. I won't say anymore, but you can. You can stream, just don't download for the love of God.
I have a VPN. I don't need to worry.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
worry about it.
I use a VPN and stream, but it's that digital detritus of that.
I do have a Plex set up so I can
There you
stream,
go.
but everyone just stream, don't torrent.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was
like
trying to say.
torrents. I have a nice
Really-
handy locker.
really
with
torrent.
everything.
Everyone
I'm
torrent.
very happy with it very much.
Davey, I used to torrent, but it turned me to buggery.
Well, yeah.
It didn't take much to turn me to buggery. Well, was pretty willing.
I feel this is one of these phrases that I'm not going to. Yeah.
It's been 2.5 hours. I've still not been turned to buggery.
There you go.
Not yet.
Time. 2.5 hours. The chill keeps rolling past the 2 hour mark quite easily these days. I need to be
Well, I
aware
guess
of
it's.
this.
But how long were you doing the music and stuff beforehand?
I had 20 minutes of tunes beforehand.
Okay. Yeah.
So really,
So-
it's like only been an hour and a half, probably.
Yes. Why you guys all thinking of bailing?
No, I'm good to hang around. I don't mind.
I'm good for another half hour or so. I said that last week and ended up being here for about 4.5 hours. But
Oh, I'm good.
we're okay.
I'm surprised Aiken Drum hadn't showed up in the.
He said he wasn't
happy,
gonna.
Happy Labour Day to Aitken, if you're watching
Yeah,
in the
happy-
background. Aitken are a future Happy Labour Day to you. He did say it was Labour Day, Barry in New Zealand, today, I think. And that's why he said he would be very drunk, and that's why you couldn't come on. But Aitken was fascinating.
Also,
last
what
week.
a pain in the ass, like time zone wise. Like New Zealand, I was talking with Thomas Sheridan about this yesterday. He was like, "At least I'm not in New Zealand. It's basically days, like ahead of schedule for where I'm at." So, I imagine, he's hard to get no matter what.
I have a time difference with my job, and it can be a pain.
Are you still
Yeah.
down south, Spooky?
Am I still what?
Down south.
I am down south.
That's the only way I can. Down south.
Down.
All right.
That's
So
pretty
real
cool.
quick, can we just give a shout out to Michelle Embry and Stephen Ronan
Who are
for
holding up-
turning the name Torrenter as someone turned to buggery.
Michelle, we don't need to use the road to buggery as a catchphrase from now on. Okay, I'd be happy to go back to being Welsh, to be honest.
No, that's going to be the tagline for the Sunday Chill forever now.
Welsh buggery.
The road to buggery.
No, that's
You
not
know-
good enough. That's not good. I
Yeah.
need a cup of coffee.
This is when Google is your friend, Brandon.
I'm going to go and bugger off and make a cup of coffee. Brandon, you're in charge.
Wow, thank you, Davey.
I have a busy week coming up.
Brandon's been
Starting
waiting
tomorrow.
for this his entire life.
Finally here, it's finally come. My time in the sun, and And what I want to say are a couple of things. Number one, I listen to
No.
Hello, everybody. Number one. Number two.
Holy fuck, Davey's turned into a cat.
Meow, meow.
So, you guys have Halloween costumes?
No.
I would if I was leaving the house.
Yeah.
I've got a pumpkin shirt. It's just an orange shirt with a pumpkin face on it.
Okay.
I have tiny little light up pumpkins because I'm at my desk all the time. So.
It counts. All right. Keats, do you have anything planned for your beautiful body?
For my birthday?
Yeah.
For my my demon holiday?
Your
No, actually, we're on the fence. It snowed last year. By the way, it's been a year of us being here. This week. And I think I've met all of you guys within that year, so that's pretty fun. But yeah, so I'm still involved with the bar I was booking and doing social media work for. They're only staying alive on weekends through festivities, but they'll probably do something. Mary had brought up that I should. So how Prag Magic started was We the Hallowed had salons every month at a local place in Portland.
You get your hair done and stuff.
What's that?
Yeah,
like
get your hair done
and your fingernails painted and things like that.
Yeah, a salon, yeah. Salon. No, I don't. You don't really pronounce it any other way. So yeah, all right, that worked. But I would interview people, and then we would have music in between, live music and stuff. So we're gonna try to bring that back up here in the next couple months.
Nice.
And we wanted to do it on Halloween, but it just the way of the world.
Who is the most Halloweeny band? I'm going to say the Slipknots.
The Slipknot. No.
Wear masks.
You meant no. Brandon, you meant the Slipknots.
That's right.
Yeah, you remember the Slipknots? Yeah.
Slipknots.
It's the guy from John. What's his name from? Delocated.
One banana.
Remember I showed you guys?
Banana 4, 5 banana, 6 banana, 7 banana more. Who sang that?
The Slipknots.
They're the most Halloweeny band.
No,
They
Stephen.
were in full costume.
Or I would say Screamin' Jay Hawkins, just for any occasion.
I'd say the Misfits.
I knew you were going to go Danzig. I knew you were going to go Danzig on this. Yeah, I'd say Screamin' Jay Hawkins. I'd even go as far as to like early birthday party.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go with Lady Gaga and Lord Gugu.
Lord Gugu.
Halloween. Speaking of Halloween, Spooky, I'm going to put you in the spot here.
Aye.
Why have I never seen you in the grannies, Spooky?
I don't really do. What is this? I don't know what that is.
He's like, I don't do age porn.
I don't really. I very, very rarely go on channels.
We were
No one ever asks me.
Next week, Saturday, Halloween, the grannies are having a very special Halloween party. And they've requested that people dress up for the Halloween party. But
I have a steampunk
how
hat.
well the whole dressing up thing's going. So, Brandon, will you be dressing up for the granny's Halloween party?
I will be.
What's your costume?
I'm not going to tell you.
Ah.
It's a surprise.
just
surprise.
Saying that.
He did it again.
Sam?
Well,
have you a costume in mind for Halloween?
I can just glam up super well, but the sad thing is that's the costume I want to wear every day.
I had
really
visions
much
of
costume, is it?
I had visions of a plastic Wolverine costume, Sam.
Oh, did I tell you that story?
Yeah, you told us that story.
Okay.
No,
God, that was the worst
he just
costume
came
I
into
ever
your
had.
dreams and mined your memories.
It literally fell apart by the time I got home.
I don't know what I'm dressing up as yet, but I'm definitely going to be dressing up. And can I urge anybody else that's listening to this or hears this within the next week or so to tune into the grannies next week. Take part in the competition. The competition is the best Halloween costume. And as a prize, there's a beautiful crystal, and I'm sure there's a deck of tarot cards that Maggie has chucked in as well. So it's fabulous stuff.
I really hope I can make it. I also kind of RSVP'd to my friends Arnemancy and the Alex Cast. They're hosting a live stream, and they were my little community of occult podcasters and stuff in Portland. So, yeah, we're kind of spreading ourselves thin, but I'm sure we'll get to do it all.
I think it's all about joining in and taking part in that fun. This is why I bring the chill back as well. We can have this relaxed chat and stuff, and it's all good, but we need to bring some fun back to YouTube. You know, and it's great
I agree
that
with
they're having
that.
the Halloween party. I think that's absolutely brilliant. It's a good way to kind of kick things off, so to speak.
That's why I got mine over with a couple weeks before, so you could simmer in it a little longer instead of it just ending.
Well, simmer and Keats. I'm off to make my coffee again, so Spooky, you're
Can
in
I-
charge now.
Awesome. I was going to say, can I show you guys something cool? I'm going to share my screen.
Yes.
No. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
No.
Yes, please, by all
how
means.
How do I do it? That one. Entire screen. Boom. Is it working? Can you see it?
Yes, I see my
Okay.
little blue dot.
Okay. So here is the last hour of a tropical storm south of Cuba. This is every frame is 1 minute, so it's really, really like high def. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
So this is going to be tracking north and probably hitting the Gulf Coast in the next week. So I am a graphic artist and producer for HurricaneTrack.com.
Nice.
Nice.
And during hurricanes, we go out and put cameras out.
another wizard mate or a weather wizard.
Yes. So during hurricanes, we go and put cameras out and space them all out. This is our custom tracking map.
Are you chasing
So-
hurricanes again, Spooky?
I'm always chasing hurricanes.
That's now the Twister thing makes so much sense.
So we have a lot of these are like permanent cameras. So we have one in Pahrump, Nevada, which I think is pretty cool because George, what's his name? Art Bell was from Pahrump.
Bah humbug. Pahrump.
Pahrump. There's one out in the middle of nowhere, Washington. Pretty
I
cool.
know Port Orchard. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So is that Chevy
So-
weather station?
Where's that middle one? Where's that middle one in
This
the
one?
States? In the middle. In the middle of the States.
middle. This is currently
Here we
in
go.
Black Forest, Colorado.
Yeah, that's exactly where my father lives.
Oh, cool. Yeah. They got a good snow going.
Oh yeah, we are drenched in snow right now.
So is it just cameras that are there, Spooky, or is there like weather stations and stuff as well?
There's two people with weather stations in our little network that we're making in community. So there's one guy in Virginia.
Are you the one tag in the UK?
No, that's actually the guy that made this whole map by himself. It has loads of different layers and stuff like that. You can support us on Patreon.
That's awesome.
But, he's done loads of stuff. He's got a documentary series on YouTube and Amazon Prime, and all of his years preceding. He makes hurricane chasing documentaries, so it's right up my alley because I'm a film student, and he makes films of doing stuff that I want to do. So why not just go and make films with this guy? So that's what I'm hoping to do.
Outside of death, weather is the great equalizer. So,
indeed.
You live
That's
in
true.
the UK, remember?
Lord Josh would love that quote. Other than
So
death.
it's gonna
Can I ask a
track
question, Spooky?
that way. Yeah.
So how much do your guys pay attention to space weather and the effects that space weather may or may not have on the actual weather we have here on Earth?
well, Davey, first of all, space is fake. I'm not sure if you realize this.
Space is a product of the mind.
Damn. No, in seriousness, though, Spooky.
Serious, like the constellation.
I once had a conversation with a professor of I can't say it, weather, and he on another stream we were discussing solar flares, gravitational waves, magnetic pulses, and how they have an effect on our atmosphere and our poles, and how then that would have a knock-on effect to the weather. We know that solar flares and CMEs can have an adverse effect here in the way earthquakes, for instance, which then can create tsunamis. Yeah. So, do your guys that watch the weather, do they watch the sun as closely as they watch the weather?
We don't. I'm sure there are groups that do look at cosmic weather. It's not so much anything we factor in to like storm genesis or forecasting.
I always find this very strange.
It's hard to get a palpable lock on that in models.
Yeah, I've never met a weather person, a meteorologist, that is got an interest or takes into account space weather, but yet all of it's recorded. Like we can record everything that happens with the sun, we can record everything that happens with the Schumann, we can record everything that happens with the poles. We know what gravitational waves are, we know the magnetic force that's in the planet. How can that not have a direct effect on the weather systems of the planet? You think it would control the weather systems on the planet, actually?
I think it controls the magnetics, and then the magnetics in turn control the weather. Well, not control is the wrong word.
Has an effect.
Infect, yeah.
But it's not even like so much as an effect. It's more like
infect.
It's like an enhanced field, if that makes any sense.
Okay. So use guys in America. Just
enhances the energy field of said.
Use guys
That's us, Sam and Brandon.
Use guys in the States, Sam, Keats, and Brandon. Have you noticed anything over the past 2 or 3 days that you would say has been adverse weather effects to what you would normally get at this time of the year?
Oh, Davey. Sweet Davey. I live in a place where the weather is absolutely, like, even in Portland when I was living there, we used to laugh at the meteorologists because it was kind of like, we think it's going to go this way, but, all right, back to you, Tom. There's no telling.
I have a little story about that, actually. You would probably remember, Keith. It was the end of August, beginning of September. You guys in Colorado had a massive heat wave, and then within 12 hours, it went from that to snow.
Oh, yeah.
We covered it. Like, we Mark flew out there with a load of cameras, and like we put cameras out. That camera in Colorado I showed you was actually one of the cameras from that mission, and the person was like, "Oh, I'll do it like permanently." That's what we're trying to get, is permanent cameras everywhere.
A side note, Spooky, is he like affiliated with the places that those cameras are put, or is it completely kind of free?
It's just completely
property?
It's just a lot. We try and get them on like people's property if we can, because it's sturdier buildings. Because
I'm
you
sure
remember
that my father would put something. I would put something if you guys needed for like a Denver thing.
Sure, I'll keep that in mind. We're looking to cover like winter storms and make it that like once December 1st rolls around and hurricane season's over, we're moving to like off season. Right. So we're in the middle of working up a whole like branding, and we're starting to make a new app and stuff. So that map that I just showed you, that the insider chat and all the different cameras that we put out, we want to try and collect all of that into one smart app.
Right.
And basically, we want to be like an ad hoc version of the Weather Channel, but completely like public radio.
More documentarian than predictable.
It's documentarian, but at the same it's not just documentarian. Like in each of the camera probes, there's pressure data. We put out like big $4,000 weather stations. The video you can get valuable data from. Like one of the cameras during I think it was during Sally. In like mid-September, we put a camera out near this river that was forecast for record flood, and the camera was 9 feet above the ground, and the pole at ground level was still about 10 feet above the river, and the water went about 4 feet above the camera. It just unimaginable amounts of water, but from that you can gather so much data on water flow. Before the water got too high, you could see what was going on in the hurricane as well. So there's so much data. It's called photogrammetry. So you could take each individual frame of a video and be able to measure like wind speed from distance and frames, because you work out how long between each frame, and you just like, it's maths basically.
Right. And you can also figure out where Shia LaBeouf put those "He will not replace us" flags.
That is true. That's true. That was funny.
Don't
Remember
say
that?
name,
That
kids.
was the funniest.
Don't say that name. I watched
Shia LaBeouf.
I watched what's it called? Oh, how could I forget the name of this movie?
Buggery 101.
Nymphomaniac.
One of my favorites.
Nymphomaniac with Shia LaBeouf in it is amazing. That's all I'm saying. It's brilliant film. Go watch
Which
it.
one?
Nymphomaniac.
Oh yeah, Lars von
Lars
Trier.
von Trier,
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see Disturbia? One of his early movies.
Yeah, the remake of Rear Window, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
That was a good
It
movie.
was good. I actually saw it in theaters coming down from a really bad acid trip. My friend
man.
kind of kidnapped me and was like, just come see a movie. And the movie's not, like, it shouldn't get you down from an acid trip. But because I was in a movie theater, and to tie this back, I started feeling good and, like, fine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I had an interesting movie experience over the summer. So I was moving out of my grandma's house, and like she's moving, and it's like I had to kind of say goodbye to the house. I've been going there my entire life.
Oh, my
So-
God. I just had that last January.
So I did a solo acid trip and watched the movie Twister, and did like a little like ritual, and was like, oh, goodbye house. And I was like, I'm gonna watch a movie that I have the longest association with and positive memories of. I never thought of like what to do after the movie ended, but that was a fun time. But watching the movie itself, like, I'd never seen it in that state, and I'd seen it in like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and then all of a sudden I'm watching it, and it's like a whole new thing. So that was an interesting experience I had over.
I love that, Spooky. That's like, yeah, that's really beautiful. That's the stuff I want to converse more about, because I just had that in January. I watched my grandmother die. It was the matriarch of, my last name. She was like the last living, and I was reared in the house, and we had to say goodbye to the house that has been the only staple my entire life. Because as a kid, I moved everywhere. Yeah, I don't have a childhood home other than this, and yeah, I had to say goodbye to it. I would have loved to have given it that sort of ritual to kind of feel those things outside of myself and not be so enveloped, and
I done a saunter. I think it was either the start of the year or just back in December last year, and it was because of where I was living in Lanarkshire. I had never been back home in York Hill, the village where I grew up, for at least 25 years. And where I lived in Kirlook, I was like 20 minutes away. But there was like a big brick wall that I couldn't get by, if you know what I mean. I just wouldn't go back there. And then just one random day I decided, fuck it, I'm going to go to York Hill. And I got the bus out of Cleland, which is the next village up. And I walked an old railway line that I'd spent countless days on as a kid. Like I learned everything that I know about nature in this patch of countryside, and it's like a 3.5 mile railway line, disused railway line between two villages. So I walked back through the railway line and got to Newt Hill, and I went and visited my old primary school, went and visited old boxing club, walked around about the football parks where I used to hang out, went down, had a cup of tea in the wee cafe that was still run by the wee old woman that ran it when I was a kid. And she must like be 150 or something like that. It was nuts. And she remembered me, knew who I was straight away, talked about my dad, my mum, my gran, and all the rest of it. My family was well known. And it was all great and good, and I had a really good feeling about it, until I walked into where we stayed. My mum and dad sold the family home when I went to college. And literally that was the last time I was in my family home, was when I left to go to college. So it was like 25 years later, and I came back, and what had happened was they'd sold it to my next door neighbour. So my next door neighbour had knocked 2 houses into the one house. It was a big, huge council house, like. But the thing that got me was there was trees in the garden that I had planted when I was a kid, and they weren't there anymore. And like I literally broke down. I was just like, wow, it's like it's no part of my life anymore. It's just no there. I've never went back since. But I've kind of, like you said, spooky there, like you're saying, Prag, kind of wanted to go back and do some sort of ritual to kind of make it be left there in the past, so it's no because there's a bit of regret, like, you know what I mean? It's kind
Right.
of weird feeling.
Yeah, I totally get that.
I had to let go real quick because then it kind of turmoiled into people or aunts and relatives fighting for this thing, and none of them wanted the family business, which was making award ribbons and sashes, and like I worked there when I was a kid, so like I lost all these tethers being kind of an astronaut as a kid. Like I was always out on my own, and that was the thing that always brought me back was New Mexico, was the family business. This house was the only thing I could hold on to. My parents had been remarried multiple times. Like there was no standing structure except for this place. And but I am grateful that I was there when the transition happened for my grandmother, and I was happy that Mary got to see it before I couldn't rest on it anymore. But now it's a total memory. It's not something. It's not a touchstone anymore.
How frightened are you of losing that memory, Keats? Is it something that you
Not-
feel you need to hold on to?
That's a great question. I'm frightened because I'm kind of a stubborn asshole when it comes to sentimentality. Like, to persevere, I'll push shit back and not care about it, or just move through, burn stuff down, go somewhere else. And I think this was the biggest one that made me realize, like, no, I need to cherish even the loss. Like, anytime I think about it.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. I'll need to go back to Muir Hill at one point, I think. And
Yeah,
do
I will
something.
too. And like, it's just it's a city. It's the sprawl around it. It's the full gamut too. Like I've walked those streets. I've walked those alleys, those avenues, and everything's different now. But the sidewalks are still the same. The streets are still the same.
That was the nuts thing about being back in Muir Hill, and I don't know, it's probably just me getting old, and it's what happens when you get older, but like standing in parks and literally seeing shadows of myself as
Right.
a young Davy, you know what I mean? And literally watching it as if it's a TV, seeing it all happen in front of you, and no having that memory before you saw it, if you know what I mean. Like I've forgotten the memory, or it's somewhere where you don't recall it. But like walking into an area in a park and literally seeing me sitting with a bottle of wine with 5 of my mates underneath a swing park, like, you know what I mean? That's kind of nuts, because you couldn't be further away from it. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To who you were back then.
Yeah, we were lucky too, in the sense that we got to comb kind of the detritus of all these years, like in the house. It wasn't about what the most expensive items were. It was about all the shit that was left. And we got to go through them. Mary wears a flannel that was owned by my grandmother still. Or like, I have art from, my father's bedroom that he grew up in, that I grew up in as a little kid, for a very short time. So there's all these great totems. It has nothing to do with wealth or inheritance. And like that, to me, that's the biggest inheritance, is we got to go through all what they all considered trash. To me, was the greatest thing, was all the little sentimental totems and stuff.
It makes you think a wee bit about, when you have clear outs and stuff like that. Like, I've just kind of done that when I moved here. I had a big clear out, and it's funny, a lot of the stuff, like I've got a big memory box, and I keep a lot of stuff in the memory box, and I add to it obviously, but I brought it out the other night, and I kind of found my great granny's cookbooks, And I was like, it's mad some of the things that you keep a hobby like that, you know.
Well, I mean, those are OG grimoires. You
Yeah,
know?
no, I totally,
Yeah.
totally, yeah. It just, I don't know. It smells and memories.
The
It can
smells,
be
yeah.
elusive to me at times, like, you know. So when it happens and I get the recall, it excites me quite a bit, like, you know.
I actually created a lifelong memory today at my grandma's house because, like, ironically, I did that ritual over the summer and she still hasn't moved. It's like she thought she was leaving like that week, so that's why I did that. But today, we went to Tesco's, and on the way there, it was like a multi-cell storm system coming through. So I took loads of footage on my phone, cut it all together, and I was like editing it together, and I was like, I have a feeling I need to go outside. So I went outside, and there was like in the distance there was like another storm that was kind of lit by the sunset, and it was all pink. And then for some reason, for the first time ever, I've always wanted to climb on the back roof of my nan's house, and I never have. But today, I was like, fuck it. So I climbed up there, grabbed my phone, and I'm shooting in like 4K, and I turn around, pan around, looking at like the storm, and then the sunset storm, and then behind it, the moon just rises perfectly, like from behind it. And that's the video I put up on YouTube earlier. And I will always remember getting that shot and where I was.
Yeah.
Like,
there
was
was
cool.
a point when I was really little and I'd visit there because, like I said, it was my touchstone, but I'd move all across the country,
right,
doing stuff. Come back and I'd get to see my cousins, and I remember talking my cousins into making potions. And like we would take household shit and put them in these beautiful antique things and just try to make either the smelliest or blah blah blah. But in my head, it was this very alchemical idea, like, oh, this will make the pain go away, you know. And when we were clearing out the house, I found them in the attic, like still hanging there, and I decided that I would throw them away because that to me was like the ritual of being like, I've traversed the idea of like alchemy or personal alchemy to the sense that like I do this Dharma bum thing. I'm not gonna lie, where I burn shit down every couple of years and like move on, you know. And so it became more apparent to me that like, no, I want, you know, the frame. It's not so much the things that I had done; it's the things that they had done, and I want to keep those things, you know. I still in our bathroom we have my great grandfather's Masonic certificate. Yeah, like
I don't want to scare you anyway, Keats, but every
That's
time I
pretty
hear
cool.
you talk, I keep thinking to myself, man, you sound more and more like me every time I hear you.
Yeah, I can relate to all of this as well.
Yeah.
My okay, so my grandma's house before that was my great grandmother's house, and it was easily over 100 years old. I don't know exactly how old it was, but even before that, like before the Great Depression, even it was like apartments, and there was an upstairs and a downstairs, and those were basically divided into two apartments. And then when it quit being apartments, my great grandmother stayed in that house, and they had, you know, her family was raised there. But my mom never really had any brothers or sisters, but I had a lot of like great aunts and uncles, brothers and sisters of my grandmother, and really for decades and decades and decades, not only was like a whole herd of children raised in that house, but when they all grew up and they all had stuff that they had to get rid of or put into storage, quote unquote, they would bring it to that house, and they would usually put it up in the attic or in one of the rooms. And, you know, really, you know, just even through my lifetime, you know, and I did the same thing, like the amount of memories held in that house. You know, when she died, we kept it for almost enough, not quite 10 years, but a good period afterwards. And it was so old that we just really couldn't afford, you know, to keep it. And we put it up for sale. And you know, it is hard. I still have dreams about being in that house. Wow, just the amount of memories like I can recall all the way from being like 5 years old to being a teenager, to even some as an adult. Uh, you know, you hate to really see something like that go.
You
Uh,
know, Sam, I always wanted to talk to you about this. I mean, I think we have a little bit, but specifically, you know, the whole hoopla about necromancy, right? Which, you know,
right.
to the
I'm
layman
just
is
gonna grab a
raising the
drink. I'll be
dead,
back.
is raising the dead, which is, you know, true in a very metaphorical sense, you know, and it was cleaning out the house, and seeing old pictures of me and stuff, and realizing that, like, oh, necromancy can be, you know, celebrating times in your life when you were happy, and you can go back to these times and kind of, you know, do these uh givings to the person that you were when everything was sound.
Speaking
Like,
to your
that's a
younger
necromancy
self.
thing. Yes, exactly. And to me, that's necromancy, because that person is long gone, right? It's he's
That's the
very
whole
That's
much,
point
that's
of
a really weird
yeah.
way to say your see self though, Keats, isn't it? Rather than seeing like rather than seeing
Well,
your
I
life
do
as a
it.
progression,
I
you're
have an
seeing your life
ancestral
as
altar. I have a Bud Light in a can for my grandfather. You know, I have his parachuting book. You know, like, I have like ancestral altars, but
but talking it
it dawned to me to do it with the self too, when things were simple or happy, and to hark on those.
talking it in terms of necromancy though is it's almost like saying that part of you's died, yeah?
Well, I think, you know, I think dying again is, it's figurative,
Yeah.
you know, where it's yeah, the part of me where I wasn't brushed with a lot of medical and mental shit, and where I was kind of free and allowed to, you know, divine things in the desert as a kid. You know, I think we should be able to, like, hark back to those times and give them just as much weight as things that have passed on
Yeah.
as other things, you know.
One
And
of
I
the
think
things
it's really like it's what I was calling divergent magic. It's a psychological, you know, kind of trust that you have, that, you know, if you need a light in this dark, you know, you had it, you've always had it. Here's where it happened. Invoke.
Yeah. What do you say about, like, so for me the past 3 or 4 year I would say have been encompassed by my mental health and the development of the knowledge of my mental health. Now knowing that I'm bipolar, now knowing borderline personality disorder, PTSD, so on and so forth. Now when I look back, and I've not got the memories, but I have the flashbacks, or I go to Newt Hill and I have these instances where I see myself in the park, I don't look at it with regret anymore. I used to always be regret, you know, but I don't look at it with regret anymore, and I think that's because of the diagnosis. I'm able to sort of look back and have a better understanding of the way that I was back then. Because
Right, and you should celebrate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should give credence to that. Yeah. I
get
get you. Yeah.
necromancy as well, really. But as you say, just going back and looking at yourself and talking to those
Right.
past lives that you had, if
You know,
that is such a thing.
here I am using terms. They're very loaded terms, you know, and I'm sure that there's going to be, you know, devouts or, you know, traditionalists of many sense that would disagree with this. But to me, that's a huge form of necromancy. It's, you know, the ghost of the former self that, you know, needs to be celebrated just as much. I think for people like us, for people that have had a lot of turmoil in our lives, guilt is the ghost we give up too much. Like, it's the ghost that we purvey too much. And so if we're able to kind of look at a picture, see a time capsule about where we were when we didn't have that, we were rid of that. Like, we were just being completely ourselves without all the advents and heaviness of where we are now. Like,
living in the moment
that
as
should
well.
be celebrated.
I totally agree with that. I was just sat drinking my drink, like, I agree.
You know, Davey, that happened to me last year. What Keats is talking about, the 1 year anniversary of AEW made me think about it, weirdly enough, because I'm sitting there in my living room and I'm watching Chris Jericho, and I said to myself, you know, when I was 7 years old, I was watching Chris Jericho in the same living room, you know, doing the same thing, and now I'm 28. Now I'm 29 and I'm still watching.
Sam, I'm 48.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt watching Twister. Like I sat there and had that.
No, I'm just kidding.
I
had that whole like
guess
thought
you get
pattern.
it with things like that though, because it's the repetitive thing. You know what I mean? Wrestling's a kind of an ongoing repetitive thing. It's always there.
But I see what Spooky's saying. Like, that's exactly what they felt when they watched Twister. Like, for the first time.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of media. That's media magic. It's like they're encapsulated films. You have encapsulated fervency and ideology about when you first saw them, when it first spoke to you. That's why people listen to the same song for years. Or it's why, you know, everyone checks in with this. To me, that's necromancy.
It was a crazy experience for me because it was like, you know, like the end of that movie, they're like in the tornado and the music crescendos and the tornado dissipates and it's over.
Yeah.
That, whilst in a kind of visionary state, was
So
like
R.I.P. Bill Paxton.
R.I.P. Van Halen, who did the fucking music.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Holy
Like
shit.
he did all the music in that movie, man. Like when I found out last week, I just bawled for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like no. Like when Bill Paxton died, I sat on top of the Glastonbury tour and said goodbye to him while listening to "Respect the Wind" by Van Halen.
That's crazy.
So
and
it's
going,
like,
game over, man. Spooky, I had no idea. Like I never realized that Van Halen did the score for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, they did all the guitar and orchestral parts, but like they wrote it together. Mark Mancina worked with Van Halen.
That's incredible.
That moment though, like you were saying, like it was like watching it for the first time again. Whilst in that visionary state, that moment and crescendo transcended everything, and that one crescendo was the meaning that I got out of that entire experience. Was that kind of lifting out of the familiar and into the new, because it was like a completely familiar but new experience of something I've seen literally thousands and thousands of times, but knowing that it's the final time I'm ever going to see that movie in that house. And knowing at the time I thought I was moving like 3 days later and my nan was moving a week later and it all kind of went to pot. But at the time, the emotions at the time was, this is it. And to have a movie that crescendos like that, lift me.
Literally swell.
It swelled my consciousness up to this point where I almost felt like I was going to like break through, because it was like, it just pushed me right to the edge and then brought me back down very gently. And I was like, and then I just laid there listening to the Van Halen soundtrack. Like, and it was
perfect.
I can't.
Trans-dimensional wave bearing. That's exactly
it's pure.
what it is.
That's what art is.
Yes.
It's like all of these hundreds of people that work on these movies. Everyone goes, "Oh, the director did a great job." No, the fucking effects people did a great job. The music people did a great job. The script writers did a great job. The editors, the sound design, acting, everything came together to make this artistic thing.
That's why it's the rarest thing in the world for a film to be that good. It really is.
It's not even the best movie ever made.
I moved to creative writing because I knew that it would take 100 other opportunistic people to create something of your vision. And then all of the sacrifice, all of the other shit. Like, to create something that sound with 150 plus crew doing their highest articulate, talents, it's incredible. Like, that to me is, like, that's why a good movie is just transcendental. It's just the best.
Right. Interstellar.
Yeah.
Prime example of a movie that transcends itself. Now, Twister wasn't designed, really. It was like an attempt to kind of transcend the moment, but through taking a quite large tab of acid and sitting there, I was able to tap into like what I think must have been like the true artistic kind of vision for what they really wanted people to feel in that moment, to like the massive extreme. Like most people be like, oh yeah, Contrendo, it's over. But for me, it was like, oh my God.
Don't you love that? It was supposed to be kind of a general event film, but for you, it was the event.
It's the movie that I've seen the most in my life, and it's guided me, and like it's the whole reason I'm into weather. So
I love it.
Like starting my new job, and like it all happened around the same time. It's been this kind of, I did that, and then I think of it as like a timeline. So like because I did that type of acid, it put me in the mindset to then approach Mark to do his graphic art. So now
Right,
that
gave you the gusto.
because it was like I need, what's the next play? I've done all this. The movie's over now.
Right.
What's the next
It's
chapter
twisting
gonna
in
be?
the psyche, but yeah, we got to get some new Kansas to
Right.
rough up. Yeah.
It's really rewarding.
It's good how
Yeah.
movies kind of hit us in this way as well. The inspirational thing, getting back to that and stuff. But
Yeah.
my dad passed away in my late 20s, and I was really close to him. It was a rough family upbringing, but I was really close to my dad. And Ipcris Files, Harry Palmer film for the 60s. It's an old British spy thriller.
Michael Caine.
And it's not It's not a huge big film, but for me, it's an exceptional film because it was mine and my dad's film. I just need to hear a few beats for the soundtrack for Ipcris Files, and tears will just start pouring down my face, and it's uncontrollable, and it's because it sparks that memory. That memory that I hold so fucking dear. That he's sitting on the couch when I was a kid watching Ipcris Files with my dad. You know what I mean?
You know what annoys me is how companies now capitalize on these nostalgic memory feelings with like member berries, and they reboot stuff. And then we were talking about how people kind of feel disenfranchised now because there's not new things. And I think they're banking on you having that emotional connection to this earlier media because everything kind of has been done.
Nostalgia mining, I think, is the most insidious.
Yeah, it's Star Wars, Jurassic Park.
This brings us sort of full circle.
But also like Ready Player One.
I have actually managed to avoid that movie, thank God.
Yeah, where the entire premise is to impact all of the media that helped in creating us into a 90-minute. Even I didn't read
Is it worth
book.
watching?
I didn't like. It's a CGI factory.
I'm a Spielberg fan as much as some of his movies kind of bore me.
His misses. Yeah, he has his misses. I didn't appreciate that. It was like it couldn't figure out the audience where it was
right
to the generation now with the avatars and everything, while still having Tim Burton's Batman making a cameo, or the RoboCop, car, or like the DeLorean. Back to the Future, I'm like, that's kind of all of our shit. You understand that it's the age of the writer who wrote it. And then, of course, Steven Spielberg with being involved with things like RoboCop and Robert Zemeckis, productions and stuff. It just felt like how do I put this, Davey? A circle jerk.
Sounds like
that's what it felt like. It felt like a nostalgia circle jerk. That's why I have an issue with things like, and forgive me, I might be a little out of touch here, but Stranger Things, I felt like.
Oh my God, I agree with you so hard. Thank you.
Yeah.
But that's the point. That's what I'm saying. That's it's easy to say there's no originality left. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think that's true. You need to try a wee bit harder. But movies and
don't try harder. Just be
music,
you.
It's all. Is it really the commercialization here? Is it really
the issue is that's where the money is. You have a plethora. I mean, look at the music industry, and Sam can agree with me now. We have like the most brilliant shit happening, but everyone thinks the music industry is trash because they watch the Grammys.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is no,
That is very true.
like no, that's no ideologue of what music is now.
Get out of
That's
the
just
mainstream.
what mainstream media is putting through, and that doesn't mean anything, you know. And that's what I was saying. Okay, well, Regal Cinemas. No, I don't want a bacon double cheeseburger and a $18 beer. Watching,
It's
you know,
funny how
whatever.
when you listen to folk on YouTube and you get the rhetoric. Oh, I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to politics. I don't kind of.
That's ridiculous.
do
How
this."
could you not?
But yet you
Yeah.
go and watch the next Star Wars film, or you can't wait
Right.
till the next Marvel film comes out, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, you know what I mean? So you're as mainstream can be.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But at the same time, no, there's the advent of like the avenue. I'm a big fan of Inside Hollywood Baseball. Like I really enjoy what it takes for a movie, you know, to get where it is. And like let's look at the past 10 years even with comic books and why DC has done so bad. Let's look about studio interference. You know, let's look about directors not giving, even though I don't agree with the directors, you know, Zack Snyder or so, but he should still have the ability to complete his film.
Right.
And
I
now
agree
he's
with that.
getting it back. And so we have this whole retread of, release the director's cut. Same thing that happened to Blade Runner, you know?
It's more than a director's cut, though. It's a completely different movie.
Yeah,
I managed to avoid
he's
the
shooting
Whedon
additional...
one.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm glad that I can just ignore the Whedon one and just get what the story was supposed to be.
well, I'm like, come
and
on.
just
You know,
finish
it's
that
hard.
arc, because they've kind of rebooted it now with the Batman and Joker and all that. So
It does worry me slightly though when I think of Ridley Scott films. We mentioned it earlier, and how many different variations or edits there are.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, Blade Runner was the biggest thing. There's the director's cut. There's the first studio edit. There's
final cut. Blah, blah.
the no.
the final director's cut, the 2007 cut.
The I finally made my decision 20 years later cut. Yeah.
The Ridley Scott needs to pay his taxes cut.
I will say the only
Exactly,
Ridley Scott
yeah.
film that I really enjoyed was Gladiator. Apart from that,
That was a good movie. I like that movie.
I really liked Matchstick Men. You ever see that?
Haven't seen
Matchstick
that one.
Men. That's a Ridley Scott. It's with Nicolas Cage and one of my favorite actors, Sam. God, of course I'm drinking, so I'm brain farting. But it's Sam. Oh my God! Give me a second. I'm drinking. Keep talking.
Rockwell?
Thank you. Jesus. Holy shit. He's like one of my favorite
Who?
actors of all time.
Sam who?
Rockwell. And I totally
Ah.
forgot his last name.
Is that the
I
same-
really need to stop
is that
drinking.
the guy with the moustache with Big Lebowski?
No. Sam Rockwell was you ever see the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert
Oh,
Ford?
that movie, great. That was
Yeah,
a great movie.
he was one of the people outside. Like
He was in Moon. Did you ever see Moon?
Oh, Moon. Yeah, where it's just him 18 times.
Yeah.
No,
I was
Sam
thinking a minute
Rockwell was
ago.
my favorite. He got his start in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
2, Secret of the Ooze, I believe. Yeah.
I was thinking a minute ago.
But
when-
anyways, yeah, I forgot what we were
Sorry.
talking.
We're talking about Matchstick Men.
Yeah, Matchstick.
Oh, it's so good. So it's about con men.
Okay.
And it's about a con man who's basically OCD and somehow gets a daughter. Like out of, knowledge.
I suddenly have a daughter.
well, he's presented with her as like, hey, remember that one night and blah blah blah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's Nicolas Cage at his most wily. Like, have you ever seen the scene where it's like, oh, piss in the street, piss, blood? Like
I thought
at the
that was
grocery
from.
store. That's it.
Oh, it's like a Christmas movie where he gets sent back in time.
No, that's
But the-
Family Man.
Right. Yeah. Please don't
sorry.
touch my socks.
Yeah. You
My
want some
favourite
cake?
Cage film was Wild at Heart.
But I was gonna bring up spooky, funny. This comes back. I was going to talk about The Weatherman. You ever see that Nicolas Cage movie?
That is a good movie.
It's a good movie.
That's a good movie.
Weatherman?
I really like Charlie Kaufman.
Did he do
Adaptation?
No, Adaptation is like the best. Yeah, I worked at a movie theater that was an independent like art house cinema, and we got Adaptation. I saw that movie 100 times at least.
Did
I
you
loved
adapt it?
that movie.
Did you learn to adapt?
I learned to adapt. What was it? The Lily.
Oh, the orchid.
Hunter or orchid thief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a film about adapting a film. You know, from a
It
book.
is the most
learning
meta
how to
movie I think
adapt.
I've ever seen.
The best movie. I'm going to wrap things up now because I'm getting very sleepy. But the best movie about movies is, of course, Mel Brooks, The Producers.
It's great.
I
It's
don't
all
know. I
like
thought
high-end-
Bowfinger was pretty good.
No.
Oh, Bowfinger is underrated, though, Davey. Come on.
Mel Brooks,
Bowfinger's
Producers.
totally
Classic.
underrated.
Classic. Anyway, guys, it's well past my bedtime. It's 1:45 in the morning here in good old Scotland, and we have been going for approximately 3 odd hours now. So yeah.
Wait, it's 2 a.m. your time, Davey?
2:45.
It is.
All right, so it's almost
No,
8
it's
my
1:45.
time.
It's 1:45.
Shit, I've been telling people
1:45.
6
Sorry,
p.m.
Spooky, I'm
tomorrow
still on
night.
yesterday.
Thomas Sheridan is in Ireland. Are you guys a different time zone? You guys are same?
I think they're like 1 hour over.
No,
They
no,
want-
no,
Okay.
Ireland's the same.
Okay.
Shit. All right, well, I've been promoting the wrong time, I think.
They'll see the YouTube.
What time is your show
premiere.
tomorrow, Spooky? Keats, are you doing it your normal time or are you doing it earlier because of Thomas?
So we'll do it 7 p.m. my time. That's what I was thinking. That's 6 p.m. on the West Coast. That's what, 9, I think, for Brandon and Sam.
I think that's 2
Yeah.
for me then. 2 or 3 o'clock.
And then it probably, yeah, I was saying that's 2 a.m. your guys' time.
Yeah,
So.
I think I can put it about
Yes.
2 a.m.
Hey, before we go-
I was really sack. I tried to stay awake for last week because of the comics, but sadly I couldn't do it. But I shall try my best to stay awake for tomorrow night. I'm really interested to hear Thomas talking about movies. That'll be brilliant. Guys, I want to thank you for tonight. The Sunday Chill has been glorious as always. It's been fun. It's been enjoyable. We've talked about lots of things, and that's what we like here in the Sunday Chill. I'm going to do my usual and go through the list and ask you your final thoughts. But before I do that, can I just quickly say thank you to Aileen Ebery, Michelle Embry, and Stephen Ronan, who have put a remarkable effort into the chat room. If you are watching the show in the future, go back and read the chat, because the chat has got absolutely nothing to do with the show, and the show has got absolutely nothing to do with the chat. That's the way that we like it in the Sunday Chill. That's the way that it used to be in the Sunday Chill. That you get 2 shows for the price of 1 if you care to read the chat room. So thank you, Aileen, thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Michelle. You've got everything in there, from drugs to the black net, the dark net, to dogs and pets and film adaptations and loads of stuff. The chat in there's been absolutely riveting. With that, Spooky, have you got any final thoughts for us here on the Sunday Chill?
I do. I was just gonna show you that moonshot quickly.
Oh, have you got a picture of it? That would be.
I have a video.
Oh, go on then. Whoa.
You ready?
We're ready. I'm sharing your screen.
I had no idea that this was about to happen either.
Nice, man. Nice roofs. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice, man.
It's kind of out of focus, but there's a shot at the end where it's like a wide shot that looks really, really good.
Nice, man.
It's got like 10
I'm
seconds
really
left.
looking forward to next week, the full moon. Strangely enough, since being in the new flat, I expected I would get glorious shots of the moon. And I've been here for about 3 weeks now, and I've not saw the moon yet, bar one time, when I just happened to glance out my window and I saw at the corner of the building. Oh, there's the moon there. So I've now got my reference point in time of where it is. I'm hoping the full moon on the 28th, I'm going to get a glorious view of the moon over the estuary. and hopefully
Oh, that'd be cool.
catch that to camera. If you didn't get the chance to see it as well, Spooky, I posted a picture of a rainbow up on Twitter through the week. It was absolutely amazing. The end of it just dropped right into the middle of the estuary. Just
Oh, that's cool. I'll have a look at that.
It's gorgeous. Have a wee look. But yes, lovely shot, Spooky. Lovely shot of the moon.
Yeah, thank you. That was sheer like in the right place at the right time.
As is always the perfect place to be. Thank you.
Awesome. Indeed. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Brandon, are you still with us, Brandon, or have you fell asleep in the background?
No, I'm here.
I love how I can just shout his name and he appears. Brandon, have you got any final thoughts for us here in the Sunday Chill?
No, it's just great. Thanks for having me on, and thank you, Davey, for hosting everybody. I think we had a great conversation, and it's great to be back on the Sunday Chill, and I hope everybody has a great week.
I look forward to your Halloween costume next Saturday, Brandon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm gonna come dressed as Brandon Young.
Damn, Spooky. That's what I was doing.
I just have to wear a lumberjack shirt. It's fine. I'll just draw some facial hair. Although I might look like CW, so I got to be careful.
Fluff your hair up. Fluff your hair up.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That is what it is.
Yep.
Keats, it's been great having you on, man. I say I really look forward to the show tomorrow night. Have you got any final thoughts for us here on the Chill?
No, thank you for having me. It's good to be back. I miss all you guys. And honestly, the conversations tonight, I think, really hit tethers that I didn't know I needed to talk about. So it was very moving and very lovely. Spooky, Brandon, Sam, Davey, thank you guys so much. I'll be around. I'm always doing something. So, I love you guys and haunt on.
Good stuff, man.
Thank you, Keith. That was a good conversation.
I love this. I'm so glad that I'm back doing this show. I absolutely love this show. It varies from week to week. I have so much hesitation for like an hour and a half before I do it. I'm basically sitting here shitting myself every week. And then when I do it, I'm always, I start it and I'm like, is it going to go? Is it going to go? We're going to have enough to talk about? And then we end up talking for like 4 hours non-stop. It's amazing. I love you guys. Absolutely love you. Let's do this lots more. Let's put ourselves out there and inspire, and let's put ourselves out there for other people to enjoy as well. It's a glorious thing. Sam, a lot to follow. Have you got any final thoughts for us here on the Sunday Chill?
Just want to say I love you guys and thank you for having me on. And I'm gonna try to make it by. I'll be honest. I probably won't be able to stay a long time at the Grannies on this upcoming Saturday, but I am gonna make it a point to at least show up. You know what I mean? Just to show up and say I was there and put my 2 cents in, so I can see everybody. I don't really know what I'm going to be doing for Halloween, but usually I like at least just watch a bunch of movies, and usually I'm off doing something, but I can't this year because COVID, at least not safely or responsibly. But everybody out there, thank you for tuning in, and I really love the music that Davey played at the very beginning of the show, and that's all I really got to say.
Thanks very much, Sam. Absolute gorgeous. I love the music as well. Bit random, and we'll be doing that next week as well. We half-hour of random music before the show.
We should all pick one song each and send it to you before.
It's my tunes.
Ah.
It's my show. It's my tunes. Spooky, you should know this by now. Don't jump in at the end when I'm finishing the show.
Sorry.
To Michelle Embry, Stephen Ronan, Alien Ebony, MD else watching in the future. Goodbye. This has been the Sunday Chill. My name's Davey. That was Spooky. That was Keats, Brandon, and Sam. It's been a lovely Sunday. See you all next week. Bye bye. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. See you later, man.
Thanks. Sorry for interrupting.